Chapter 837 One Sword Move. 1. At this moment, even though they were only divine consciousness phantoms, their bodies also emitted a powerful God spirit aura, making the entire meeting room overflow with divine might. Fortunately, none of the people present were ordinary people. They could face this scene with normal expressions. Zhou noticed. At this moment, only 2 of the seats present were empty. One was a seat in the middle of the human upper echelons. The second seat was the first seat on the left side of the main seat. It was also empty. That should be the position of Emperor Pangu and the Buddha Lord. Zhou thought to himself. Temple Lord Bai, is there anything important that requires an emergency meeting of the human race? At this moment, the Yellow Emperor, who was at the first seat on the right of the main seat, asked. Then, he swept his gaze and quickly saw Zhou sitting at the end. He was stunned for a moment before he smiled gently. So our little friend Blazing Sun is here too. As soon as these words were spoken, other than the Yellow Emperor and White River, the other upper echelons of the human race looked at Zhou. Their gazes were either surprised, curious, calm, cold, or hostile as they looked at Zhou. Hello, seniors, Zhou said without any panic at all. He was also someone who had seen many things in life. Even though this was the first time he had experienced this meeting of the human race's Supreme Council, he would not be afraid. At most, he would be a little curious. Seeing Zhou's expression and actions, many people could not help but click their tongues in wonder. Even though this human junior looked very young, it seemed that he was quite confident. They were old and experienced, so they could naturally tell that Zhou was not faking it. Instead, he was truly confident and bold. This junior is indeed extraordinary. Some higher-ups of the human race thought. It had to be said that Zhou's performance alone was enough to make many people admire him. At this moment, the upper echelons of the human race, who had previously objected to Zhou joining the human race's Supreme Council, were not stupid enough to stand up and speak. Since they had already promised the Yellow Emperor and Patriarch Lu to let Zhou join the Supreme Council, they would not say anything inappropriate on such an occasion. However, they had already planned to discuss Zhou on other unimportant occasions. Could it be that His Excellency, he urgently convened the human race's highest meeting and called us over just to celebrate the King of the Blazing Sun joining our human race's Supreme Council? At this moment, Heavenly Bodhisattva of Light from the Saha Empire, Roigar, suddenly said. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expressions changed slightly. Even though if a new upper echelons of the human race came to the Supreme Council, the upper echelons of the human race should summon a supreme meeting to meet and welcome the newcomers. This was considered a fixed process. However, the significance of holding a normal Supreme Council and an emergency Supreme Council were completely different. The former might just be discussing some things, and the matter could be big or small. The latter could indeed only be held if they encountered a major matter of the human race. If what Roigar said was true, even if the other party was a peak human powerhouse, the gods would still be dissatisfied. At the same time, Zhou's gaze landed on the Heavenly Bodhisattva of Light as information about him surfaced in his mind. Heavenly Bodhisattva of Light, Roigar, as a Bodhisattva-level human powerhouse, his strength was comparable to a high-tier deity-level advanced grade god. Moreover, now that the Buddha had undergone nirvana and entered the cycle of reincarnation, this person was the second strongest person apart from the current king of the Saha Empire, Kasayapa. Due to the difference in the empire's camp and the Buddha Lord's legacy, even he could not severely punish the experts of the Saha Empire without a major reason. What if the Buddha Lord returned from nirvana one day and saw that the people of his empire were actually bullied when he was not around? What would others think? Are you bullying me when I'm at home? Zhou coughed lightly and said, This emergency meeting is not to welcome me. But it does have something to do with me. He thought for a moment and typed. Who gave you the right to speak? Heavenly Bodhisattva of Light Roigar glanced at Zhou with a calm expression and suddenly said coldly. Zhou was stunned. Then he grinned and stood up slowly. Roigar, do you dare to fight me? He suddenly spoke. His voice was cold. The smile on his face also disappeared. leaving only an indifferent and cold expression. As soon as these words were spoken, not to mention Roygar, even by he, the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, the Black Moon King, and the others were stunned. Roygar was stunned for a few seconds before he sneered. Do you know what you're talking about? You, a human junior who has yet to reach the Vajrabit realm, actually dare to challenge me? You're used to being arrogant among the myriad races. You don't know who you are when you return to reality, right? Why not? Zhou expression was calm as he gently stroked the sword of new dimension creation at his waist. His gaze swept across the many human god spirits present, but he did not look at the Yellow Emperor and the others. Seniors present, if you are unconvinced that I'm sitting in this position, you can challenge me. This king won't reject anyone. The scene was a little quiet. All the higher-ups of the human race looked at Zhou. Other than the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and by he, the other upper echelons of the human race only had one thought in their minds. Where did this guy get the guts? The Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and by he looked at each other, and then by he frowned slightly. Zhou. Chapter 838 One Sword Move. 2 Sure. The Yellow Emperor suddenly spoke, and interrupted what by he was about to say. He smiled at Zhou and Roygar. I'll provide the battlefield. The two of you can fight. Haha, I haven't seen such an interesting thing in a long time. Our human race's highest council really has to recruit more motivated newcomers. Otherwise, how could we have seen such a scene today? That's right. Patriarch Lu glanced at the Yellow Emperor. Then, he understood something and nodded with a smile. You guys can spar. By he nodded in agreement. The higher-ups of the human race were speechless. How could they agree to such nonsense? A legendary tier advance grade against a high-tier deity-level advance grade. Wasn't the outcome obvious? Roygar was caught between a rock and a hard place. He had never expected that a dead human would dare to challenge him in such a solemn occasion. What he didn't expect was that the Yellow Emperor and them had actually agreed to this ridiculous request. He took a deep breath and slowly stood up, staring intently at Zhou. All right, then I'll teach you the greatest principle in the myriad worlds. The weak have to respect the strong. Zhou did not speak, and only looked at Roygar calmly. The Yellow Emperor smiled lightly when he saw this. His heart that had been sealed in the Xianyuan tomb for countless years was actually looking forward to it at this moment. He gently tapped with his right hand, and saw 34 5-colored streams of light fly out from his fingers and land on the surrounding upper echelons of the human race. The next second, Zhou and Roygar saw the scene in front of them change. They had arrived at an ancient and complete arena. The figures of the Yellow Emperor and the other 34 upper echelons of the human race also appeared in the surrounding audience. I took the initiative to guide everyone's divine thoughts into my Xianyuan realm and turned them into divine thoughts. Little friend Blazing Sun Roygar, if the two of you want to use weapons and armor, you can use your own divine senses to condense them. Even though my Xianyuan realm's secret technique is not perfect, it's not a problem to condense a high-tier deity-level divine artifact at the highest level. It's enough for the two of you to show off your skills. As for us, we'll just be spectators and watch the two of you fight heroically. The Yellow Emperor smiled. Thank you, Your Holiness. Zhou and Roygar said politely. The Yellow Emperor smiled and nodded, then sat down. This little brother Blazing Sun seems to be quite confident. Patriarch Lu, who was sitting beside the Yellow Emperor, said with a smile. Punch it open so that 100 punches won't come. The Yellow Emperor nodded. Even though I'm a little surprised by what little friend Blazing Sun wants to do, since little friend has this idea, let's help him so that what we're going to do next will be smoother and avoid attracting gossip. Patriarch Lu nodded. The Yellow Emperor looked at Bai He with a smile. Little Bai, are you confident in little friend Blazing Sun's upcoming battle? Bai He hesitated for a second before nodding. Even though I've never seen him fight personally, Zhou has always thought twice before doing anything. Even though it's unbelievable, I feel that Zhou should be able to win. I think so too. The Yellow Emperor nodded. That's what I thought. Patriarch Lu said. The three of them looked at each other and laughed. If the Yellow Emperor and the others were confident in Zhou, then The other upper echelons of the human race in the audience did not think highly of Zhou at all. Legendary tier advanced grade challenging high-tier deity level advanced grade? What was the king of the blazing sun thinking? Many upper echelons of the human race thought so. King of the blazing sun will definitely lose this battle. It all depends on whether Roigar will go easy on him. Go easy on him? With Roigar's narrow-mindedness, forget it. The king of the blazing sun is going to suffer. Young people are still too young. It's good to suffer. It's time to sharpen the king of the blazing sun's spirit. Otherwise, he'll suffer a huge loss sooner or later. The higher-ups of the human race discussed. Most of them were not optimistic about Zhou. Only a few of them were waiting to see what would happen. Amongst the gods, the Black Moon King looked at the two people confronting each other below, and felt a little anxious. How could he be so rash? He just joined the Supreme Council of the human race. How did he offend the heavenly Bodhisattva of light? This guy is famous for being petty and protective. The reason why Roigar is dissatisfied with Zhou is probably because Zhou squeezed into the human race's Supreme Council, causing the Saha Empire's preparations over the years to go down the drain. This is difficult. Everyone knows Roigar's personality. Zhou's path in the upper echelons of the human race is going to be difficult. What can I do to help him? The Black Moon King fell into deep thought. Zhou had saved his life. No matter what, he had to help Zhou, even if it meant offending the Saha Empire, a behemoth. In the arena, if you admit defeat now and take the initiative to resign as a member of the Supreme Council, I can forgive you for offending me. Roigar said coldly. He felt that he was really a great benevolent person. He actually spared this human junior who had offended him. Zhou did not say anything. He just calmly raised his right hand and raised his index finger. What do you mean? Roigar frowned. One sword move. Zhou said. I'll admit defeat if you can make me use my second sword move. Roigar was stunned for a moment before he flew into a rage. Arrogant junior. I won't let you off. Just as he was about to take action, he saw Zhou condense a silver-gray sword in his right hand before standing on his body. Then he said softly, I am the king of all living beings. Boom. His aura increased rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he broke through the limit of the legendary tier and arrived at the inferior god level. Low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Mid-tier deity level intermediate grade. High-tier deity level intermediate grade. High-tier deity level advanced grade. At this moment, the aura on his body still did not stop increasing. Instead, it continued to increase while the aura of many nomological powers constantly appeared on his body. Ice, blazing sun, dragon slaying, sword Dao, saber Dao, space, dragon, battle formation, war, strength. More than 10 types of nomological powers appeared on his body and fused into it. In the eyes of Roigar and the gods, at this moment, Zhou had a supreme charm of controlling everything. Soon his aura gradually stopped rising. Zhou opened his eyes and shook his head slightly as he felt the improvement in his body. Even though he had already comprehended 30% of the White Platinum Tier King's nomological engravings, and could gather the power of 100 people to gather on himself, he was still unable to break through the barrier between a high-tier deity level and a true god. He possessed true god tier divine power. In this state, he could already use 15 to 16 casual attacks at the true god tier level. Only by becoming a god spirit can I have the combat power of a true god tier under normal circumstances. Zhou thought to himself, then he looked at Roigar. Roigar was standing rooted to the ground, looking at him as if he was looking at a monster. Zhou didn't say anything else when he saw this. He condensed a high-tier deity-level advanced grade sword of new dimension creation and slashed out. The true god tier sword energy was like a real sword that could split the world apart. It even cracked the Xianyuan realm. This world created by the Yellow Emperor could not even withstand a single strike from Zhou. Facing this sword, Roigar's expression suddenly changed. Light Heavenly Saint Buddha Kingdom. Roigar pressed his palms together and revealed a benevolent expression. Behind him, the Merit Buddha emitted a bright light. It vaguely revealed a vast Buddhist country that was illuminated by boundless light. And yet, after the sword landed, The light heavenly sage Buddha kingdom was shattered by the sword. The figures of the 10,000 Buddhas dissipated, and the light melded. Roygar could not maintain his cross-legged posture, and fell to the ground in a sorry state. His expression was dull, as if he could not accept everything in front of him. He actually lost, defeated by a legendary tier human junior? At this moment, Zhou walked in front of him. You're right. The weak should indeed respect the strong. But it seems that you've mistaken who the strong person is, he said. When Roygar heard this, he immediately felt ashamed. Chapter 839 Sixth Councilman, Zhou. There was silence around the arena. The air seemed to quiet down. All the higher-ups of the human race looked at the figures standing and falling on the battlefield in a daze. Even the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and Bai He were no exception. What did they see? Legendary tier advanced grade defeated high-tier deity-level advanced grade? The gods felt as if their worldview had been overturned. After they came back to their senses, they looked at each other. Do you understand how Roygar was defeated? This is a battle between divine senses. External forces are almost useless. They rely on true strength. But even so, Roygar actually lost? What's going on with that sword? What kind of law can be so powerful? Could it be that the cultivation path he took was different? What was that aura on him just now? Why do I feel that it's a little like the supreme resistance? There's no technique. It's all crushing. The gods could not understand how Zhou defeated Roygar. They could only tell that the origin power that Zhou used far exceeded they. It could even be said that they were crushed. Coupled with the fact that King of the Blazing Sun's cultivation realm had temporarily increased to the same level as Roygar. This resulted in such a crushing victory. At the same time, the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and Bai He also wore solemn expressions. Old Lu, can you tell? The Yellow Emperor's expression showed how solemn, unbelievable, and excited he was. The supreme laws. Patriarch Lu's expression was also very strange and shocked. This kid is actually walking the nomological path of the supreme resistance that Regal Penga mentioned. Bai He hadn't seen Zhou walk the nomological path to begin with, but it had actually increased his strength by so much. Now that he heard the Yellow Emperor and Patriarch Lu's words, his eyes immediately widened. It's the supreme nomological law. Control everything and control all laws. The Yellow Emperor nodded. Only the legendary supreme laws can do this. Regal Penga once said that legendary tier's supreme nomological laws can be used even without much understanding. Furthermore, the power of its usage is as if it's using its own intrinsic nomological laws, just like a monarch controlling his subjects and subjects. Bai He looked at Zhou and took a deep breath. I originally didn't believe that there were such magical nomological laws in this world, but now, I've finally seen it. Legend has it that among the top 3 laws in the world, there is a law called the Chaos Law. It is known as the head of magical provenance, beginning and end of worlds. But so what? The Chaos Law is still controlled by the number 1 supreme law. Patriarch Lu also clicked his tongue. Otherwise, why would it be named after concepts like Supreme, Regal, Lord, God, and Supreme? This is an invincible path of laws. The Yellow Emperor lamented. I was still thinking about what kind of nomological power little friend Blazing Sun would walk. I didn't expect it to be this nomological path. Little friend Blazing Sun's future is limitless. The 3 of them looked at each other and felt that their previous decision was right. The prerequisite is that you have to walk until the end. Lu Zu remained calm. If you can't grow to the end, being invincible is just a lie. The Yellow Emperor and Bai He nodded. Then, the Yellow Emperor said with a solemn expression, the supreme laws have always been known only to a few god spirits. We must not leak this matter, or else it will definitely bring great trouble to little friend Blazing Sunday. Patriarch Lu and Bai He's expressions turned cold. Then they nodded solemnly. This was the first time they had seen the Yellow Emperor reveal such a serious expression. Then the Yellow Emperor waved his right hand. Zhou and the gods felt the scene in front of them change, and returned to the highest meeting room. At this moment, the meeting room was very quiet. The gods looked at Zhou in a daze. Opposite Zhou, the heavenly bodhisattva of light, Roygar, looked at him with a pale face and cold sweat on his forehead. Seniors, Zhou suddenly spoke and looked at the gods calmly. Am I qualified to sit in this position now? The scene was a little calm for a moment. Then a smiling voice sounded. Good, good, good. The Yellow Emperor smiled and looked at Zhou with admiration. As a legendary tier advanced grade, you defeated high-tier deity-level advanced grade Bodhisattva Roigar. In addition to your loyalty to the human race and your contributions to the human race, if you don't have the qualifications to sit in this position, most of the council members in the Supreme Council won't be able to sit in this position. Zhou. He suddenly spoke. He looked at the other party and pointed at the empty seat beside him. You can sit here. Since you already have combat power comparable to a true god tier, from now on, you are the 6th representative of the human race. This position is second only to Regal Pangu, His Excellency the Yellow Emperor, His Excellency the Buddha Lord, His Excellency Patriarch Lu and me. The rest of the council members each take a step back. Zhou. We're all looking forward to the day you take another step forward and grow up to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. When the time comes, our human race will have another ultimate expert. The gods were stunned. Ultimate expert? They were silent for a few seconds before they reacted. Immediately there was an uproar. Many people's faces were filled with excitement. Yes, the King of the Blazing Sun was only a legendary tier advanced grade, but he could defeat a high-tier deity-level advanced deity with a single strike. He had combat strength close to that of a true god tier. Then, after the King of the Blazing Sun advanced to God Spirit, wouldn't he be able to possess true god tier combat strength? Even though this deduction sounded reasonable, it was actually a little unreliable. Nonetheless, they were right. Thank you for your high regard, Your Holiness. I'll do my best, Zhou said. Then, he stood up and came to Baihe's side. Without any hesitation, he sat in the 6th councilman's seat. Let us welcome Zhou to become the 6th representative of the human race. Let us add another super expert to the human race. Patriarch Lu clapped his hands. Seeing this, the gods also clapped their hands, including Roigar, who had just been defeated by Zhou. They looked a little dazed. Not long ago, they only treated Zhou as an unprecedented outstanding junior who had suddenly risen to prominence among the human race. They did not expect that in such a short period of time, the other party had actually arrived at the same position as them, to the extent that they had to look up to him. This King of the Blazing Sun had already broken away from the label of a Super Lord Genius and had officially become a Super Lord Expert. I'm also very happy to be able to join the Supreme Council of the human race and become the 6th councilman. However, I'm still inexperienced, and there are still many things I don't understand. Please take care of me in the future. Zhou said gently. It was completely different from his arrogant appearance just now. The upper echelons of the human race smiled and nodded. At the same time, they could not help but praise in their hearts. The change in attitude was so natural. This King of the Blazing Sun. The younger generation will surpass us in time. After Zhou finished speaking, Baihe spoke again. All right, let's get back to business. This is also the reason why I urgently convened the Supreme Council of the human race. The upper echelons of the human race listened attentively. Zhou's performance just now was too outstanding. They had almost forgotten the original purpose of their meeting. Chapter 840 Transaction. Baihe surveyed the crowd and slowly said, This matter is indeed related to the King of the Blazing Sun. You've heard about it during the previous Supreme Conferences. During this period of time, the King of the Blazing Sun has lent a helping hand to our Knight Empire and the Divine Sword Empire. He has eliminated nearly 3 billion fog monsters that besieged our human empire and killed more than 20 Scarlet God spirits. He has resolved the danger of fog monsters that our 2 human empires are facing. But because of that, currently, a large number of Scarlet Fog monster factions are targeting King of the Blazing Sun. Just now, the King of the Blazing Sun came to me and asked for our help. There's nothing to discuss. The King of the Blazing Sun is a hero of our human race. He got into trouble because he helped us. So we naturally have to help King of the Blazing Sun survive this crisis. What we discussed was how to help. He said. The upper echelons of the human race looked at each other. Then an unexpected person spoke. It was actually the glorious heaven bodhisattva, Roygar, who had just been defeated by the King of the Blazing Sun. I will bring 5 Vajrabit Buddhist cultivators and 200 million troops from the Saha Empire to help the King of the Blazing Sun. But I have one condition, Roygar said. The gods looked at him in surprise. They never expected him to be the first to stand up at such a time. Zhou was also a little surprised. Roygar looked at Zhou and said, King of the Blazing Sun, I hope that after your crisis is resolved, you can bring troops and god spirits to the Saha Empire to resolve the fog monster crisis of the Saha Empire. Our Buddha Lord has undergone nirvana on his own. Senior brother Kasayapa, the ruler of the empire, has gone to the myriad worlds to look for the Buddha Lord's nirvana body. He has yet to return. We can't even contact him. He is currently suspected to be missing. Due to the problem of faith, the Saha Empire has grudges with many other races. Coupled with the calamity of the myriad races, and the invasion of a large number of fog monsters, the current crisis the Saha Empire is facing is actually even greater than the Divine Sword Empire and the Night Empire. We really need help. Roygar lowered his head, having no choice but to say this for the Saha Empire. He gritted his teeth, feeling a little humiliated. Zhou looked at this scene thoughtfully. At this moment, the Yellow Emperor's voice sounded in his ears. Little friend Blazing Sun, please don't blame Roygar for his rudeness. Ever since Regal Pangu sealed himself in the primordial world, and the Buddha underwent nirvana on his own, the current king of the Saha Empire, Kasayapa, went to the myriad worlds to find the back of the Buddha's nirvana. The Saha Empire's situation can be said to be the most difficult among the 5 human empires. As for the 5 human empires, our situation is not very good either. We can't help the Saha Empire too much. During this period of time, Roygar, the heavenly bodhisattva of light, had been supporting the Saha Empire. The pressure on his shoulders could be imagined. Before you came, Roygar had been working hard and making contributions with resources in order to obtain the help of the human race openly. He wanted his junior brother Puwang to join the Supreme Council and fight for more resources. After you join, this spot will be gone. Roygar will inevitably be a little depressed. I'm not blaming you for this. After all, we can only blame ourselves for this. After all, we suddenly gave you this spot. I just want to tell you the reason for this, and let you understand that Roygar is not an evil person. As for how his requests will be decided, everything will be decided by you, the 6th councilman. There's no need to care about our thoughts. Zhou was taken aback. After some thought, he sent a voice transmission. Frowny face Senior Yellow Emperor is too serious. In fact, after I saw the techniques he cultivated and the Buddhist light of virtue behind him, I knew that he was not an evil person. Whether it was the light heavenly Saint Buddha kingdom, or the merit Buddha light, in his bloodline inheritance records, only those with great merit and perseverance could cultivate them. This was related to the methods of laws. It could not be faked. Zhou continued frowny face. The reason why I said this in the arena previously was because I was unhappy and wanted to show off my strength. As for what he said, not to mention the reinforcements that he brought over, even if it was just to obtain a new faction quest, I would still bring my troops to the Saha Empire. Great kindness. The Yellow Emperor smiled and stopped transmitting his voice. Zhou only looked up and said okay to Roygar before saying nothing else. Seeing this, Roygar said, "Thank you." Zhou nodded slightly and did not say anything else. "I'll help too. However, I don't have any lords under me now, so I can only come alone." The Black Moon King finally spoke. He had wanted to be the first to speak up to help, but Roygar beat him to it. "Thank you, Black Moon King. I'll pay you handsomely afterwards." Zhou's attitude towards the Black Moon King was completely different as he said with a smile, "You saved my life. Let's not talk about this before." The Black Moon King waved his hand, not caring about the reward at all. However, Zhou made up his mind to give the Black Moon King a huge gift after this crisis. Your Excellency Bai He, may I ask how many factions have come to deal with the Blazing Sun King's fog monsters? Some higher-ups of the human race thought. There are 12 Empire-level Scarlet Legions, and more than 200 Kingdom-level Scarlet Legions. Their military strength should exceed 5 billion. Moreover, there are 3 Empire-level soldier types in 3 of the Empire-level Scarlet Army. As for the Scarlet God Spirits, there should be about 100 of them in total. Bai He spoke. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the upper echelons of the human race changed. 5 billion soldiers, 3 Empire-level soldier types, 100 Scarlet God Spirits. Why did they attract so many fog monsters? Some higher-ups of the human race could not help but be shocked. Because he's the king of the blazing sun, Patriarch Lu said calmly. Everyone looked at each other in silence. That's right, this sentence was enough to explain it. The upper echelons of the human race hesitated. Previously, they had thought that the ones who had come to deal with the blazing sun king would at most be a dozen or 20 Scarlet God Spirits, plus 1 billion or 2 billion Scarlet Fog Forces. If that was the case, they also had the confidence to deal with it. However, if there were 5 billion fog monsters, about 100 Scarlet God Spirits, and the Scarlet Army of 3 Empire-level soldier types, under such circumstances, even if they participated, they would probably be in danger of dying. Should I help? They hesitated. But at this moment, Zhou spoke. Everyone should be wearing the divine artifacts that I lent out previously, right? The upper echelons of the human race nodded. All the upper echelons of the human race present, even the high-tier deity level ones, were wearing a few divine artifacts borrowed from Zhou. There were even some low-tier deity level human god spirits, who simply wore borrowed low-tier deity level divine artifacts, and armed themselves to the teeth. Could it be that the King of the Blazing Sun wants us to take action because of this matter? Some higher-ups of the human race thought. If that was the case, it was related to his life and safety. At most, he would not lend it to her. No matter how magical it was naturally not as important as his own life. At this moment, Zhou said again. This king knows that with the supreme agreement around, even if everyone wants to help me, it will be difficult for them to do so. Therefore, this king intends to employ everyone. In this war, as long as a human god spirit is willing to come to my side to participate in the war, no matter what the final outcome of the war is, even if it's just killing some normal fog monster soldiers during the war, I'm willing to give them any divine artifact they rent after the war. If our human god spirit kills one of the other party's scarlet god spirits in the upcoming battle, and is willing to hand over the other party's corpse to me, I can directly give the other party an entire set of 6 divine artifacts from those divine artifacts I rented. If our human god spirits are injured, or even killed in the upcoming battle, this king is also willing to pay free medical treatment and resurrection services until our god spirits are cured or completely revived. At the same time, according to the extent of my injuries, I will also give the other party a divine artifact that can reach the level of 3 lesser deities. If it's a god spirit of our human race who died in battle, I will send someone to revive him, and also give him a set of divine artifacts at the low-tier deity level. That's the deal. What do you think? Those who are willing to participate in the battle, can you raise your hand? Zhou looked at the gods. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, Roigar raised his trembling hand. Right on the heels of that was the Black Moon King, King Emoluo, Wind Blade God, Dream God, Giant Spirit God, Heavenly Moon God. In less than a moment, other than the Yellow Emperor and the other 2 true bodies, the other god spirits present all raised their hands. Zhou smiled. The feeling of being a kryptonite was awesome. He could easily pull in a group of high-end substitutes at any price. Moreover, he would probably earn more after this. How could this be reasonable? Chapter 841 Joining the people of foreign races. When the Yellow Emperor and the others saw all the higher-ups raising their hands, they looked at each other and could not help but click their tongues. This was the charm of controlling a large number of high-end resources. A casual sentence could make countless experts work hard for him. Why do I feel that a rich man has come to our human race? Patriarch Lu muttered. Haha. The Yellow Emperor laughed inside. Previously, I was a little worried that the resources we were going to provide to Zhou would be opposed and gossiped about by the other upper echelons of the human race. From the looks of it, this shouldn't happen. Patriarch Lu and Bai He smiled and nodded. Zhou. The Yellow Emperor looked at Zhou. I will inform all the human factions that you need help. But there's one thing you need to be prepared for. Currently, the various human factions are generally not doing well because of the calamity of the myriad races. Coupled with the war on your side, it might start tonight. So we might not be able to send too many helpers in such a short period of time. At most, we can only get the human factions in the high continent to help you. Furthermore, it might only be god spirits. As for soldiers below the god spirit level, they won't be able to rush over so quickly. No problem. Zhou nodded. He understood very well. The god spirits each had their own escape techniques. Even though most of them could not catch up to the galaxy, they were comparable to ordinary spaceships. It was indeed possible for them to rush over from afar. However, as long as the normal soldiers were not at the god spirit level, they definitely did not have the magic power to attack from an ultra-long distance in a short period of time. Unless a lord faction had spatial treasures that could carry a large number of lives, such as the Sky Spirit ship and the World Ring, it was impossible to do so. However, those treasures were very rare. Even Zhou had only obtained 3 or 4 by chance. Most of them had been upgraded through the King of Loots. Ordinary kingdom-level lord factions probably did not have them. He didn't mind. It was fine as long as the god spirits were in place. As for soldiers, he alone was enough. The more gods that can come, the better. If it's too far, you can use the galaxy in my territory to pick it up. Zhou thought for a moment and said, the galaxy can indeed do it. Lu Zhen and Ji Yun, who were sitting in the front row, nodded when they heard this. Then, Ji Yun stroked his beard and smiled. My daughter just took 5 galaxy spaceships from the Blazing Sun Kingdom not long ago. I've experienced that speed before. When flying at full speed, even the speed of a top-notch high-tier deity level is far inferior. I'm afraid only a true god tier can steadily surpass galaxy's speed. That's right. Lu Zhen smiled at Zhou with anticipation in his eyes. Neph, 6th counselor, when will my 10 galaxy ships be completed? After you build those 10 galaxies, I plan to personally lead my troops to support the other human forces. Not only was the Divine Sword Empire the eldest brother of the 5 empires, but it was also the strongest lord country in the entire human race. Every time the human race was in trouble, the Divine Sword Empire would always be the first to help the other human lord factions and save the human race from trouble. If the Divine Sword Empire did not help out, countless human lord factions would be destroyed by the people of foreign races and the Mist faction. Now that the Divine Sword Empire had escaped the siege of the Fog Monster factions, they had already begun to prepare to support the other human factions without stopping. The galaxy was extremely important to them. 10 galaxies will be completed in the next 5 days. I'll send someone to deliver it personally, Zhou said. Then he said seriously, also Uncle Lu and Uncle Ji don't have to call me the 6th counselor. I'm still used to hearing you call me nephew. Okay. Lu Zhen was stunned for a moment before sighing. Good nephew. He and Ji Yun had indeed not chosen the wrong person. The gods looked at Lu Zhen and Ji Yun enviously. This fellow and Ji Yun had true god-tier backers like Patriarch Lu, and Bai He to begin with. Now there was another super genius with true god-tier combat power at the legendary tier realm. What kind of dog luck was this? Also, actually, you don't have to send troops over. At this moment, Zhou said, even though the other party sent about 5 billion Scarlet Fog soldiers this time, there are even Empire-level soldiers among them. But I believe that the soldiers under my command are not weaker than them. He sounded very confident when he said this. The gods looked at each other then nodded. They no longer treated Zhou as an ordinary expert, so even if he said something so ridiculous, they could accept it. Alright, well, do as little friend Blazing Sun says. The Yellow Emperor nodded and chose to believe Zhou. There's one more thing. Emperor Huang said. Actually, we can also invite some god spirits from the people of foreign races to help. For example, those allies of the people of foreign races who have been in the human alliance for more than 1,000 years, and the Yellow Emperor looked at Zhou and smiled. Recently, because of your appearance, they have chosen to come into contact with us humans and made an alliance oath. Because of me? Zhou was stunned. The Yellow Emperor and the other god spirits smiled and nodded. Obviously, they all knew about this. The corners of Zhou's mouth twitched, so he was the last to know. Actually, when you obtain the strongest novice lord, some people of foreign races who are friendly with us humans started to learn about you from us. When you won first place in the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield event, many people of foreign races, even those who had nothing to do with us previously, suddenly came knocking on our door and said that they wanted to build a friendly relationship with us humans. Those people of foreign races who have good diplomatic relations with the human race are still alright. We can still barely believe them. As for those people of foreign races that we've never seen before, we naturally can't trust them easily. Therefore, we investigated the other party secretly, while maintaining a friendly relationship on the surface. Turns out, the main reason why these unfamiliar people of foreign races, who suddenly contacted us, want to build a friendly relationship with us humans, is because of you. The Yellow Emperor looked at Zhou. After they found out about your ranking in the event, they valued your potential. Some leaders of the people of foreign races even frankly said that with your achievements in the event, even if it's very difficult for you to become the lord of all races in the future, as long as you live and continue to develop, you might become an overlord force in the myriad worlds in the future. Do you know what a transcendent power is? A faction with a master god tier is an overlord faction. Zhou had many legacies in his mind, so he naturally knew what an overlord force meant. He smiled and said, "They really think highly of me." Even though he already had many subjects with master god tier potential under him, having this potential did not mean that he could definitely become a master god tier. If one wanted to advance to the master god tier realm, it was no longer just a matter of promotion energy and nomological comprehension after all. There were even other important conditions that were needed to become a high and mighty master god tier. Potential was only one of the many thresholds for such existences. Becoming a master god tier is indeed very difficult. The Yellow Emperor's expression was gloomy. The upper echelons of the human race knew that the Imperial Lord Pangu was a peerless genius, suspected to have the potential of a master god tier. It might even have reached the legendary limit of the world. Until now, the human race had already produced more than a second or even third master god tier genius. However, Imperial Lord Pangu had yet to advance to become a master god tier. It could be seen how difficult and bumpy the path of becoming a master god tier was. Chapter 842: The Foundation of the Human Race. However, even if you only have a 1 in 10,000 chance of becoming a force to be reckoned with, they will still dare to invest in you. After all, they are all middle and low-level bloodline life forms like us humans who have been oppressed by high-level bloodline races for a long time. They only want to seize every opportunity to climb up, the Yellow Emperor said. However, even though they want to form an alliance with us humans, it's not like we humans will form an alliance with them without investigating anything. Originally, we had been investigating the situation of these races and civilizations that came to the alliance. However, since you're in danger this time, why don't we take this opportunity to ask these people of foreign races for help and let them send God Spirit level combatants to help? If they are truly willing to invest in you and are willing to come and help, then we humans will definitely repay them as friends in the future. However, if the other party has ulterior motives or only wants to take advantage of us without paying, we can take this opportunity to eliminate them, Patriarch Lu said from the side. The Yellow Emperor, and by he nodded slightly, the other higher-ups of the human race nodded in agreement. This was indeed a good way to screen for allies. I also have some methods to determine if the other party is here with good intentions. When the time comes, I can also screen those experts of the people of foreign races. If the other party sincerely wants to join our human race, I don't mind giving them some inferior divine artifacts according to their battle results after the battle. Zhou said. He was naturally talking about his talent intuition. To a certain extent, this thing could be used as a top-notch lie detector. Sure. The Yellow Emperor and the other two discussed for a while before nodding. Giving them divine artifacts also had the intention of revealing the strength of the human race. This could also increase the confidence of those people of foreign races who sincerely wanted to join the human race. In the chaotic world of all races, the benefits of showing off one's abilities and skills were definitely greater than the disadvantages. After that, the gods discussed the specific details for a while before the Supreme Conference ended. The illusory bodies of the gods disappeared from their seats. Finally, only Zhou, the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and Bai He were left in the highest meeting room. Senior Yellow Emperor, how many god spirit level combatants do you think I can invite this time? Zhou asked curiously. There's too little time left for us. When the war begins, there will probably only be 40 to 50 human god spirits. As for the people of foreign races, I'm not sure, but I don't think there will be too many. Most of the people of foreign races who came to join us humans are weaker than us humans. Some races, or even the entire race, only have one god spirit. Once this god spirit dies, this race will quickly be enslaved by other races with god spirits. This is very normal in the High Continent. The Yellow Emperor thought for a moment and said, there are actually 50 to 60 human god spirits who can come? Zhou was surprised by this matter. Why are there so many? I heard that there are only about 50 god spirits in a powerful empire like the Elven Empire. Furthermore, there are also many god spirits from the people of foreign races. There are only more than 10 elven god spirits. The Elven Empire is the Elven Empire. In the entire elven race civilization, the Elven Empire only formed a part of the elves. The Yellow Emperor said patiently, as far as we know, in the entire elven civilization, there are a total of 7 empire-level lord factions established by the elves on the High Continent alone. The Elven Empire only represents the original elven lineage of the elves. Not to mention the factions of the elves scattered throughout the myriad worlds. Think about it. The elves have nearly 500 god spirits on the High Continent alone. How many elves would there be in the entire universe? Then how many god spirit level powerhouses do we humans have in total? Zhou asked subconsciously. Then, he suddenly realized that his question was a little presumptuous. The number of gods of a race could be said to be the most important foundation of this race. How could he casually reveal such a confidential matter? Currently, there are a total of 132 human god spirits on the High Continent. To Zhou's surprise, the Yellow Emperor only pondered for a moment before telling him about this. As for the human god spirits in the myriad worlds, we don't know. But there should be nearly 1,000 of them. However, a portion of these god spirits are stationed in the lower realm. On one hand, they are protecting the Ascension platform, and on the other hand, they are protecting the humans of that realm. The other portion belongs to the lone god spirits, and are not under our jurisdiction. Coupled with the difficulty of crossing realms, it's very difficult for us to transfer them to the High Continent. Zhou nodded slightly. It seemed that the only people he could rely on now were the humans of the High Continent. As for the humans in the myriad worlds, he'll worry about that later. Senior Yellow Emperor, other than the Saha Empire, how are the Great Xia Empire and the Heavenly Barbarian Empire? Zhou asked the question he had always wanted to ask. He was still thinking about the faction quests that these two empires might have. The situation of the Great Xia Empire and the Heavenly Barbarian Empire is similar to that of the Night Empire. However, as the Divine Sword Empire and the Night Empire's god spirits and troops are freed, our situation will gradually improve in the future. If you have time in the future, you can go to the Great Xia Empire and the Heavenly Barbarian Empire and explain the situation to the current king. They will give you the corresponding faction mission. The Yellow Emperor saw through Zhou's intentions and said directly. Zhou acknowledged. Then, he did not stay any longer. After chatting for a while, he bade farewell to the three of them and left. After Zhou left, the three of them looked at each other. Then he smiled inside. Every time I see this kid, I find surprises in him. Perhaps it won't be long before he can truly stand shoulder to shoulder with us. It's not far now. Patriarch Lu smiled. The Yellow Emperor nodded slightly as he thought about the future. The appearance of little friend Blazing Sun is a great opportunity for us humans, but it is also accompanied by a great challenge. I have to prepare more, he thought silently. After Zhou walked out of the highest meeting room, he saw Rob Allen guarding the door. Zhou did not think too much about it, and went over to say hello. Greetings, Sixth Counselor. The god of Silver Star Knights, Rob Allen hurriedly said. Why are we so distant? Zhou was speechless. His personal relationship with Rob Allen was quite good. He often came here to chat and spar with Rob Allen. However, this guy was very busy most of the time, and did not spend much time together. Even though it was not much, Zhou could tell that he was a frank, sincere, and kind person. These 3 points alone were enough to make him want to make friends. Rob Allen was stunned. Then he saw Zhou's sincere expression, and couldn't help but smile. How does it feel to participate in the Supreme Council of the human race? He was curious and envious. They're all pretty good. I've also learned a lot of things that I didn't know before, Zhou said. Then, he talked about some details of the meeting that did not need to be kept secret. Rob Allen was even more envious after hearing this. After chatting for a while, Zhou prepared to leave. He planned to go back and see what kind of legendary tier Lord talent was engraved in the legendary tier Lord talent Origin Divine Crystals. However, not long after he left, he heard Rob Allen call out to him. I'll be there tonight. He grinned and said, let me show you my recent improvements. Then you'll have to take a good look with a magnifying glass. Zhou replied. The two of them laughed and Zhou walked out of the night temple. Chapter 843 Legendary Tier Lord Talent. Super Construction Engineering 9. Advanced Grade Lord's Paradise. In the study, Zhou took out the Legendary Tier Lord Talent Sphere. Treasure Name, Lord Talent Sphere. Super Construction Engineering 9. Treasure Grade, Legendary Tier. Treasure Effect. After absorbing it, the Lord will have Legendary Tier Lord Talent, Super Construction Engineering 9. Treasure Description. A rare treasure that contains the Lord Talent. After absorbing it, you can obtain a Legendary Tier Lord Talent. Super Construction Engineering 9? Zhou raised his eyebrows. Was it a Lord Talent related to construction? He did not think too much about it and chose to absorb it. The next second, this Legendary Tier Lord Talent sphere immediately turned into countless golden light spots and surged into his glabella. Zhou closed his eyes. A moment later, he reopened his eyes again after some time. Then, he immediately opened his Lord's personal information. In his Lord Talent column, the Legendary Tier Lord Talent, Super Construction Engineering 9 appeared. The 32nd Lord Talent. Zhou nodded. Then he opened the details of the talent. Lord Talent. Super Construction Engineering 9 Legendary Tier. Super Construction Engineering 9. Territory Construction Type Lord Talent. The construction efficiency of your territory buildings has increased by 90,000%. Zhou looked at the last number in a daze. It took him a few seconds to come back to his senses. He sucked in a sharp breath. Good God! Construction efficiency increased by 90,000%. That's an increase of 900 times. Which means, a building that originally needed 9 years to build could be completed in 3 days with the help of this Lord Talent? No wonder it was called Super Construction Engineering 9. He thought about the use of this Lord Talent for a while, and then an extremely obvious smile appeared on his lips. This Lord Talent came at the right time. Zhou's eyes lit up. Due to his continuous expansion of his territory, new regional territories were added almost every day in the kingdom. Among these newly added regional territories, the regions that originally had cities were still alright. His Blazing Sun Kingdom only needed to undergo some minor repairs and modifications before he could move in again, allowing the subjects to quickly enter a normal life. If it was an uninhabited area without a city, in order to resolve the increasing population pressure and jurisdiction problems in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, they had to build new territorial cities in this uninhabited area. Originally, this process was very slow. After all, building a city was not something that could be done overnight. They were like the organs of a country, requiring a long time to be properly nurtured. But now, with this super construction engineering 9, he could cross this long period of time in a short period of time, and directly obtain a large number of cities. Moreover, if he obtained any rare but long construction period in the future, this Lord Talent could easily solve the small problem of the long construction period. City is one of the most important foundations of a country, and also one of the most important foundations of a country. As a lord who has just arrived in the high continent, it's very difficult for me to compare to those native lords with a long history in this aspect. But with this Lord Talent, I will be able to quickly make up for the gap between me and those native lords in this aspect. The more Zhou thought about it, the more he found this Lord Talent pleasing to the eye. He felt that this Lord Talent would be of great use in the future. Top-grade Lord Talent. Zhou sighed. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Your Majesty, Master Zhao Changshu requests an audience. Aaliyah's voice came. Let him in. Zhou was stunned for a moment before replying. Yes, Your Majesty. Aaliyah left. A moment later, Zhao Changshu came to Zhou. Greetings, Your Majesty, Zhao Changshu said happily. Did something happen? Zhao Changshu said happily. Your Majesty, the construction of the dragon transformation pool is unexpectedly smooth. Just now, for some reason, the efficiency of our construction of the dragon transformation pool suddenly increased by more than 100 times. The dragon transformation pool was officially completed in less than 3 minutes. Originally, according to our plan, we wouldn't be able to officially complete it until after dark. Zhao Changshu was both excited and confused. It was obvious that he did not know what had happened. Zhou smacked his lips gently. This super construction engineering IX's effect was set up very quickly. This is a territory buff that I just obtained. It's specially used to increase the efficiency of construction. In the future, such things will remain normal. When you go back, tell this to the construction professionals in the territory, and let them get used to it. Zhou didn't think too much about it, nor did he want to hide it. As for the exact amount of benefits, Zhou did not say it explicitly for fear of scaring them. Let them find out for themselves. I see. There's actually such a buff that's suitable for our territory. Zhao Changshu was pleasantly surprised and excited. He immediately said, I'll tell them when I get back. With this unique benefit, Zhao Changshu understood that the architects would benefit the most. In the future, the growth speed of architects like them would be greatly improved because of this territory buff. As long as the duration of this territory buff was longer, perhaps in a few days, a large number of legendary tier architects would appear in King of the Blazing Sun's country. Zhou acknowledged. I'll go to the dragon transformation pool to take a look. Yes, Your Majesty. Please follow me. Zhao Changshu said immediately. A moment later, in a square in the southeast corner of the territory, a huge black dragon pool that covered an area of more than 10,000 square kilometers stood here. 2 black dragon statues with pitch-black dragon horns on their heads, blood-red eyes, wings on their backs, and strong bodies stood facing each other. They spat out a strange golden spring water that fell into the vast dragon transformation pool, forming a golden pool. No, in the eyes of normal life forms, this vast pool was actually enough to be called the Dragon Transformation Lake. Under this pair of black dragon statues, the black rock walls around the dragon transformation pool were also carved with a large number of myths and legends of non-pure-blooded dragons advancing further through the dragon transformation pool and becoming pure-blooded dragons. It looked fascinating. At the same time, a majestic and endless dragon might spontaneously spread out from this dragon building. Under this dragon might, not to mention normal life forms, even drake species with low bloodline purity, would find it difficult to approach this place. Perhaps only pure-blooded dragons would approach the dragon transformation pool unaffected. Fortunately, Zhou and the nearby soldiers were all dragon slayer. Therefore, he did not feel any special pressure from the dragon might. So this is the dragon transformation pool. Zhou looked at the dragon building in wonder. Men, Zhou suddenly said, Your Majesty. A legendary tier soldier guarding this place immediately ran over and said respectfully to Zhou, Bring over all 200 drake species in the territory. Zhou instructed. Chapter 844 Dragon Transformation. Towards the Saha Empire. These 200 drake species were all sent over by the Dragon Lady Lord. 150 of them had been sent over previously. The remaining 50 were sent intermittently over the past 2 days. He could tell that this Dragon Lady Lord had put in a lot of effort to please Zhou. Zhou did not ask for it for nothing. He returned the favor and gave her a large number of weapons, equipment, skill books, and other war resources. Coupled with the large number of soldier-type class change certificates that Zhou had given them previously, and the insight defection talent that was also shared after becoming an affiliated kingdom, the combination of the three was enough to increase Dragon Lady Lord's strength by more than 10 times in a short period of time. Among the kings of the affiliated kingdoms under his command, the Dragon Lady Lord could be said to be the person who trusted Zhou the most to bring her an unimaginable future. Yes, Your Majesty. The soldier nodded, then turned around and left quickly. Soon, under the lead of the legendary tier soldier, accompanied by the rumbling of the ground, a group of drake species of various forms ran over from afar and quickly arrived in front of Zhou. Your Majesty, the 200 drake species have all been brought over. The soldier said respectfully, You may leave. Zhou waved his hand and saw the legendary tier soldier return to his post and continue standing guard. Zhou's gaze landed on the dragons. When they arrived, they looked at Zhou nervously, respectfully, and infatuatedly. They could clearly feel the bloodline pressure from the light sacred dragon on Zhou. But soon, their gazes were attracted by something else. It was the official dragon transformation pool. The 200 drake species looked at the water in the dragon transformation pool in a daze. Even though they did not know what the effect of the dragon transformation pool's water was, their bloodline instincts made their breathing become heavy. Their gazes towards the dragon transformation pool water became a little fiery, eager, and even greedy, as if they would not be able to control the restlessness in their hearts in the next second and pounce towards the dragon transformation pool. At this moment, a voice that sounded like a human and a dragon's roar sounded. It was Zhou. Something magical happened. Hearing this, the dragons who had been a little strange just now actually woke up at this moment and lowered their heads in fear. It was unknown if he was afraid of the terrifying effect of the dragon transformation pool, or if he did not dare to look at Zhou, a humanoid dragon. Zhou glanced at these drake species disdainfully. Not a single drake dared to look him in the eye. Seeing this, Zhou suddenly felt a little bored. He casually pointed at a single-horned earth dragon that was 5 to 6 meters tall. It was grayish-white and wore dragon armor. Then, he pointed at the dragon transformation pool behind him. This one-horned earth dragon, which was an extraordinary tier advanced grade, saw Zhou's obvious order, and its eyes immediately lit up. It looked at the dragon transformation pool and took 2 steps back. It was the last to run. It jumped up and fell into the dragon transformation pool with a plop. After a while, the single-horned earth dragon had just popped its head out of the calm lake. Its entire dragon body was immersed in the water of the dragon transformation pool, and an expression of enjoyment appeared on its face. The golden spring water flowed around the one-horned earth dragon, causing its body to glow with a faint golden light. At the same time, Zhou sensitively sensed it. This originally ordinary drake-horned earth dragon's bloodline purity was actually increasing towards the purity of a pure-blooded dragon's bloodline at an astonishing speed. A moment later, roar! An earth-shattering dragon roar sounded. A pure-blooded dragon with 3 yellow-brown dragon horns on its head and a huge yellow-brown dragon armor on its back flew out of the dragon transformation pool and soared into the sky. It was the original single-horned earth dragon. However, its appearance had changed drastically. He could only vaguely see what it looked like before. Zhou opened the other party's message. He discovered that its race name had changed from the original, one-horned earth dragon, to a new and easy name, mountain dragon. When Zhou saw this name, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. Mountain dragons were also one of the pure-blooded dragons. Compared to the mountain range giant dragon that slept in the mountain range all year round and absorbed the energy of the mountain range, causing it to be almost motionless, it did not have a powerful body unique to the giant dragon, but its size was much larger than ordinary pure-blooded dragons. Moreover, mountain dragons were active and belligerent. Their personalities were the complete opposite of mountain dragons. However, this was not important. Most importantly, the dragon transformation pool did not let him down. It could really purify the purity of the dragon bloodline and increase the strength of the dragon race. It could even let the Drake race advance to a pure-blooded dragon race. And the price was just the dragon transformation pool water, made from some rare god-tier medicinal herbs. Zhou had the king of loots and had the backing of the human race. It could be said that he did not lack such things at all. Then, he carefully checked the water in the dragon transformation pool and discovered that only 1/10 of the water had been consumed. It was probably all used on the horned black dragon that was the first to come up. He did not mind and immediately ordered someone to immediately concoct another portion of the dragon transformation pool's water to replenish the resources that the dragon transformation pool had just consumed. Then he called for the second drake. This time, this drake came from the lightning-winged dragon race. After it evolved into the dragon pool, it quickly advanced into a pure-blooded dragon with the help of the dragon transformation pool. It was called the Sky Thunder Dragon. It was also a standard high-level race of the lightning wings dragon race. Right on the heels of that, the third drake, the fourth drake, the fifth drake, with the help of the dragon transformation pool, the drakes advanced to pure-blooded dragons one after another. Many members of the dragon god army, who had sensed the aura here, came over to take a look curiously. Zhou did not stay for long. At this speed, there were a total of 200 drakes. Every day and night, they would transform endlessly. It was not even noon yet. He still had a lot of time to make good use of today to prepare for tonight's battle. Soon he found Bai Yin and the rest. At this moment, Bai Yin was leading the soldiers to rest. However, it was obvious. At this moment, the soldiers were full of energy and did not need to rest. They had conquered the new Wind Demon Kingdom in the morning and then returned after all. This round trip was not difficult at all. They did not feel tired at all. Let's go. Bring your troops with us to the Saha Empire. Warm up for tonight's fight. Zhou said. Yes, Your Majesty. When Bai Yin and the other generals heard this, their eyes lit up immediately. Then they went to gather the soldiers. A moment later, the 8 galaxy ships set off from the capital and headed west. Then, the 8 galaxy spaceships activated Dark Universe travel mode and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Half an hour later, about 500 billion kilometers away from the blazing sun capital. This was where the capital of the Saha Empire, the immeasurable capital city, was located. About 1,000,000 meters above the immeasurable capital city, the 8 galaxy spaceships appeared and hovered in the air. Zhou's figure suddenly appeared above the spaceship. He looked at the familiar immeasurable capital city below and clicked his tongue in wonder. Dark universe travel is indeed magical. It only took half an hour to cover a distance of more than 500 billion kilometers. As expected of a method used for cosmic travel. Zhou lamented. At this moment, a figure flew up from below and quickly arrived in front of Zhou. Who are you? How dare you, the 6th counselor? This person was stunned. Then, he looked at Zhou in disbelief. It was the heavenly bodhisattva of light Roigar. I'm here for the appointment. Zhou went straight to the point. Chapter 845 Insight Defection. To the appointment, the heavenly bodhisattva of light. Roigar's eyes lit up. Then he hesitated and said, But I haven't helped you yet. In that case, after settling the matters here, Bring your Vajrabit Buddha back with me. Zhou said. Okay. Roygar nodded without hesitation this time. He looked at the 8 galaxy spaceships behind Zhou with envy in his eyes. Then he said, I'll open the 3 Ages to Thagata's Nation Protection Array now. Get your spaceship to dock. I'll open the spaceship's berth. Zhou was not surprised. He had cultivated in the immeasurable capital city of the Saha world for more than 10 years. So he naturally knew that the various facilities in this capital city were very complete. Even though the Saha Empire did not have a factory to build spaceships, they had come into contact with the Machina race, a super-technological civilization, in their long history. In addition, there were also things like spirit boats and ferryman professions within the human race. Therefore, the capitals of the 5 empires, and many other places, had set up some facilities like berths. I'm not stopping. The fog monster faction won't give up the advantage of the night. The battle on my side might start tonight. The sooner we resolve the crisis of the Saha Empire, the sooner I can return. Tell me about your situation here first. Then give me your faction quests. Zhou said. Roygar was stunned by Zhou's straightforwardness. Why was it that the crisis of the Saha Empire could be so casually mentioned by him? However, when he thought of this guy's previous battle results, Roygar calmed down. The other party indeed had the confidence to say this. Currently, the Saha Empire is surrounded by 5 Empire-level Scarlet Legions, more than 50 Lord factions of kingdoms, and a large number of scattered low-level fog monster factions that want to take advantage of the situation. There are about 1-2 billion of them in total. If not for the fact that our Saha Empire has always valued the construction of regional city defense arrays, and that Buddhist cultivators are very good at defending and protecting themselves, our Saha Empire would probably have been destroyed on the 5th day of the calamity. When Roygar said this, his expression was very calm. But even so, after a long period of defense, more than half of our Saha Empire's defense power was gradually consumed. Now, our Saha Empire has lost almost half of its territory, and more than half of our Buddhist soldiers and subject believers have died. All we can do now is defend the remaining regional territories of the Empire. But the attacks of those fog monsters are getting more and more violent. According to our judgment, if no reinforcements arrive, we can only hold on for another half a month at most. Then the entire country will die and be completely destroyed. Zhou's expression changed when he heard that. More than half of the Buddhist soldiers and subject believers had died. It had to be known that for a junior Empire-level Lord faction like the Saha Empire, the number of soldiers and ordinary subjects combined was at least 5 billion. If more than half of them died, didn't that mean that more than 2 billion humans in the Saha Empire had already died in this calamity of the myriad races? Moreover, there were more soldiers and subjects every second, constantly enduring the slaughter of the fog monsters? It seemed that the Saha Empire was indeed the most miserable among the 5 empires after the Buddha's nirvana. Give me a map of the Saha Empire. It needs to record the specific information on the distribution of the fog monsters. Zhou said. When Roygar heard this, he immediately took out a jade slip from the prayer beads hanging around his neck and handed it to Zhou. From the looks of it, this prayer bead was his spatial treasure. Zhou did not care about this. After receiving the jade slip, he entered it with his consciousness and saw the map. On the map, the huge Saha Empire had already been divided into 2 parts. One was real, and the other was fake. Among them, the map area with the solid line was only a third of the size. It was the territory of the current Saha Empire that had yet to be captured. The map area with the dotted line took up 2/3 of the map size. It was the territory of the Empire that had already been captured. At this moment, a large number of red fog dots were besieging the remaining unoccupied territory of the Saha Empire. Zhou's gaze landed on the spot with the densest red fog. Epic tier territory Upali City. It read. This place was besieged by an Empire-level Scarlet Army called Demon Shine. Just this Empire-level Scarlet Army alone had gathered a total of 200 million fog monster troops. Even though Upali City was the famous monk's city of the Saha Empire, with a large number of powerful Buddhist cultivators gathered there. The combat power of the entire city was extraordinary. Even so, this place was already on the verge of being breached. Zhou did not hesitate, and chose this place as the first place to send troops. Bring your Vajra realm Buddha and come with me. Well, first deal with the fog monster faction that besieged Upoli city. Zhou said. Okay. Roigar nodded, and immediately flew down. Then, he quickly brought back 5 Vajra realm Buddhas comparable to the low-tier deity level from the immeasurable imperial city. Then, they boarded the galaxy and flew in the direction of Upo city. A moment later, Zhou and the others had arrived at Upali city. The huge Upali city was being besieged by a large number of fog monsters. More than half of the city wall had been broken through. A large number of monks held Buddhist staffs, Buddhist prayer beads, wooden fish, and other treasures that emitted the light of treasures. They rushed forward one after another, and fought with the fog monster soldiers who wanted to rush in. However, under the attack of the fog monsters, the battle scene was very tragic, and the casualties were extremely heavy. The walls of Upali city have been breached. Roigar's expression changed when he saw this. Upali city was one of the Saha Empire's most powerful military fortresses. He had thought that this place could last for a few more days. He could not help but feel deeply grateful. Fortunately, the city walls had only been broken and not massacred. They still had a chance to save the city. On the other side, when Zhou saw this scene, he did not say anything else. He directly ordered Bai Yin to charge out with 2 billion soldiers to deal with the misty soldiers of the demonic light Scarlet Legion. Zhou had also activated his last insight defection on these fog monsters today. As a result, he had once again induced 50 million fog monsters. Among them, legendary tier fog monsters alone had been induced to rank 96. Today, just by instigating the insight defection, I've already obtained a subordinate with 100 million combat power. Zhou nodded slightly and at the same time, roar! Cessier also flew out of galaxy with the army. It looked at the vast number of fog monster soldiers below, its sky-blue dragon eyes nervous and excited. Then, it roared and summoned thousands of legendary tier wind blades to charge at the fog monsters. Chapter 846 Mythical tier person descend by my side. Rumble. Thousands of wind blades descended on the battlefield. It was as if a terrifying flesh-cutting machine had suddenly appeared on the ground. Hundreds of thousands of fog monsters suffered heavy casualties under the terrifying wind blades. Even a low-tier deity-level elementary grade was slightly injured by Cessier's legendary tier draconic spell, Wind Blade Storm. Even though Cessier was only a legendary tier intermediate grade pure-blooded dragon, it could already deal with ordinary low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits. When Cessier saw that his attack had succeeded, he roared excitedly and soared into the sky again. Then, he summoned thousands of wind blades and charged towards the densest fog monsters below. Boom 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 boom. Hundreds of thousands of fog monsters were killed by Cessier. Then, Cessier repeated the above actions again, killing happily. It was like a child who had been suffocated. It was releasing energy and excitement that it had no way of venting before. During this process, 2 scarlet god spirits wanted to rush forward to stop Cessier's massacre. However, in the next second, a blood-colored figure flew over from afar and blocked in front of them. The other scarlet god spirits have all been snatched away. It'll take the 2 of you who are left alone to try my axe. Guiqiao grinned. The 2 scarlet god spirits. You and the 2 of us are the ones who are left alone? Soon, under Guiqiao's sharp axe, they immediately knew why Guiqiao called them alone. Half an hour later, this battle of 2 billion blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers versus 200 million Empire-level Scarlet Fog army ended with a crushing outcome. Bai Yin and the rest naturally won easily. Even the 4 scarlet god spirits of the demonic light Scarlet Army could not escape the fate of defeat. When Roigar saw this, before he could bring the soldiers to thank Zhou, he saw that Zhou had already asked the soldiers to gather all the loots. Then, he boarded the galaxy again, and prepared to rush to the next Saha Empire city, that was besieged by the fog monsters. Roygar took a deep breath. For some reason previously, Zhou handsome face was so good-looking that it made one want to punch him. But now, it actually made he feel very charming. You guys stay here and rest well. We'll talk when I get back. Roygar informed the soldiers and subjects of Upoli City before flying back to the galaxy with his Vajra realm Buddhas. Time passed quickly. In the evening, scarlet fog gradually appeared in the air. In such an environment, the overall strength of the fog monster soldiers had increased by at least 30%. However, Zhou was not afraid at all. He directly got all the soldiers to activate the black membrane and continue fighting these fog monsters in the scarlet fog. At the same time, Zhou thought that it might not be convenient for Roygar and the others to fight in this environment enveloped by the scarlet fog. Unexpectedly, facing the increasingly dense scarlet fog, Roygar and the other Buddhist cultivators pressed their palms together and chanted. Then, a faint white Buddhist light gradually emitted from their bodies. Even though the white Buddhist light was not offensive, it isolated the scarlet fog that wanted to invade their bodies, making it difficult for them to advance further. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. In his heart, he warned himself not to underestimate everyone in the world. They had lived in the high continent for so long. How could they not figure out a way to prevent the invasion of the scarlet fog? The scarlet fog was still dominating the high continent and even the endless heavens. Zhou guessed that it was probably just the method they were researching. Due to various reasons, it could not be popularized on a large scale. 2 hours later, after the last city of the Saha Empire that was occupied by the fog monsters, Mullion City, was taken back, the entire Saha Empire completely recovered all its previous territory. When Roygar saw this scene, he pressed his palms together and sighed as he cried, Amitba. After helping benefactor Blazing Sun survive this calamity, I will lead all the Buddhist cultivators to recite the Nirvana reincarnation scripture for the humans who died in the calamity of the myriad races. Then, he looked at Zhou and bowed deeply. Thank you for your help, benefactor Blazing Sunday. The Saha Empire was spared. Benefactor Blazing Sun, Roygar will always remember your kindness. If Benefactor Blazing Sun needs Roygar in the future, please feel free to ask. Roygar will do anything. Sure. Let's get on the spaceship first. In returning to the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Zhou did not stand on the ceremony and said directly. The other Buddhas nodded and boarded the galaxy together. Then, the spaceship activated Dark Universe Travel and flew towards the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Half an hour later, Blazing Sun Kingdom. After Zhou returned, he immediately realized that the Blazing Sun Kingdom was abnormally lively. This was because in his perception, there were actually the auras of nearly 70 unfamiliar god spirits in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Looks like backup is here. Zhou nodded. Then he ordered the spaceship to descend. After Zhou and company walked out of the descending spaceship, a figure immediately appeared in front of him. This person had round eyes, a hairy face, a thunder god's mouth, a thin face, a sharp mouth and a shriveled chin. His body was like a macaque eating pine cones. He wore a purple gold 7-star crown on his head, and his feet were clad in a chain of yellow gold tier armor. He held the compliant golden hooped rod in his hand. He had the pressure of a high-tier deity level. Just by looking at him, one could tell that his combat strength was extraordinary. You're the king of the Blazing Sun? He looked at Zhou curiously. You are. As Zhou looked at his image, a thought suddenly appeared in his mind. He held back his excitement and asked, Me? My name is Sun Wukong. I used to be a lord. My territory is in the Flower Fruit Mountain Water Curtain Cave. My nickname is Great Sage Equal to Heaven. As of now, I've already entered the Void School, and was conferred the title of Victorious Fighting Buddha by the Buddha. Is he really the Great Sage? Zhou's eyes lit up. Then, he immediately took out a piece of paper and handed it to Sun Wukong. Great Sage, can you give me an autograph? I grew up listening to your legends. Which Chinese person would remain reserved in front of the Great Sage Equal to Heaven? In any case, Zhou could not be reserved. No problem. Sun Wukong clearly did not expect Zhou Zhou to do this. As he pretended to be carefree and waved his hand, he grabbed a pen with his other hand and did not know where to start with the piece of paper. Sun Wukong had read many books, especially Buddhist scriptures and Taoist scriptures. However, he had very little experience in writing. Sun Wukong had a smile on his face, but he began to worry in his heart. His handwriting wasn't pretty. Listen to the myths and legends of this monkey? King of the Blazing Sun. Are you referring to how this monkey challenged the Buddha Lord and ended up being slapped to the ground by the Buddha Lord for 500 years? At this moment, another voice spoke. Who is it? How dare he speak ill of Big Brother Monkey? Zhou Zhou subconsciously looked over. However, he did not notice that Sun Wukong's face had already darkened. The person who came wore a three-mountain flying phoenix hat and a light yellow collar. A pair of golden boots paired with the panlong socks, a jade belt with 8 treasure makeup. He had a slingshot on his waist and a 3-pointed double-edged spear in his hand. High-minded people don't care about the heavens and their families. Their pride returns to their spirits as they live in the Guan River. The Red City's Jiahui heroic spirit saint manifested as Erlang. God Erlang Yangjian? Zhou Zhou was shocked when he saw who the other party was. Yang Three-Eyed, you're asking for a beating. Before he could say anything, Sun Wukong had already roared angrily. He picked up the stick and slashed at Yang Jian. Only the signed piece of paper fell to the ground weakly. Violent monkey, let me see if you've made any progress in the past 1,000 years. Yang Jian's handsome face was cold. He was not afraid at all. He held the 3-pointed, double-edged saber in his hand, and a faint golden light slowly bloomed between his brows. It actually formed an illusory barrier around him. Obviously, this was specially set up by Yang Jian, because he was worried that the aftershock of their battle would affect the Blazing Sun Kingdom. They're fighting. They're fighting. Second brother monkey, you guys fight. I'll be the referee. A handsome young man with a heaven and earth ring in his hand, a heavenly red silk hanging from his waist, and firestorm wheels on his feet watched this scene excitedly. The other god spirits also looked like they were watching a show. When Zhou Zhou saw this scene, the corners of his mouth twitched. I called you here as reinforcements, and what are you trying to do? Chapter 847. A specific mythical tier person. Zhou Zhou's speculation. Everyone, it's not good to cause trouble in someone else's territory, right? At this moment, an adult male voice sounded. Baihe then walked out of the void. A world-shattering pressure emanated from Baihe's body, and all of the deities present felt as if the divine power within their bodies was a caged bird that couldn't be unleashed. Even Zhou Zhou was the same. He subconsciously held the sword of new dimension creation. Then, he accidentally discovered that when he held true god-tier divine artifacts like the sword of new dimension creation, he could actually use the protection of the true god-tier divine artifacts to ignore Baihe's true god-tier suppression and use the chaotic sacred power in his body. What a treasure! Zhou Zhou smiled faintly and at the same time. Greetings, Lord God of Abyssal Knights. The deities respectfully greeted. Even unruly people like Sun Wukong, Yang Jian, and Neza had to stop what they were doing and bow to Baihe in the sky. Baihe nodded slightly. Then, he looked around at the gods and slowly said, Today, a sea of fog monsters will invade the Blazing Sun Kingdom. There are probably about 100 scarlet god spirits among them. This is the battle of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. It's also a battle that our human race rarely sees in 100 years. You have to make preparations early. Even though the King of the Blazing Sun has the ability to revive, he can only revive mid-stage golden immortal realms, mid-tier deity level intermediate grade, and existences below the golden immortal realm. Therefore, if you can prevent yourself from dying, then please do. Yes, my lord, the divinities said. Some of the god spirits had solemn expressions. They were all existences above the mid-stage golden immortal realm, so this battle was extremely dangerous for them. Still, a reassuring smile appeared on their faces as they looked at their divine artifacts. They were powerful to begin with, and with their low-level divine artifacts, even if they were only mid-tier deity-level intermediate-grade deities, With the enhancement of the divine artifact, they already dared to fight against high-tier deity-level elementary-grade enemies. As long as they didn't do something ridiculous like courting death, such as directly challenging a top-notch Scarlet God Spirit, who was in high-tier deity-level intermediate-grade advanced grade, they felt that they wouldn't be in too much danger. Rest well. Due to the Supreme Agreement, His Holiness the Yellow Emperor, His Holiness Patriarch Lu, and I will not participate in this battle. It's all up to you. Bai He said, under the premise that the lords of the myriad races did not provoke them. True God tier definitely could not participate in the war between the Lord of all races. Previously, saving Bai He was considered saving himself. As for the dispute between the lords of the myriad races, the Supreme Will would naturally make a reasonable judgment. From the fact that the Supreme Will did not attack the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and White River, the Supreme Will clearly approved of the Yellow Emperor and the others' actions of saving themselves. Yes, my lord. All the deities greeted Bai He respectfully. Bai He nodded and looked at Zhou. After I leave, as the master of this battle, everything here will be up to you. If anyone disobeys, contact me immediately. He said. All right, Senior Bai He. Zhou nodded. Bai He didn't say anything else, and his body gradually disappeared into thin air. After Bai He left, the gods let out a sigh of relief. Every time I feel the pressure of the god of Abyssal Knights, it feels so terrifying. Who would have thought that a person who's not much older than us would cultivate to this extent, without anyone knowing? Even we have to call him Lord. Could it be that His Excellency Bai He wants to hand us all over to the King of the Blazing Sun to command? Why? What right does a human junior, who isn't even a true immortal realm expert, have to command me? If he wants to command, it should be Empress Myrtlestar. Silence. Don't you know that His Holiness, the King of the Blazing Sun, defeated the heavenly Bodhisattva of Light, Roigar, with a fair and square strike in front of the senior executives of the human race? With this result, he's already the 6th counselor of our human race. Do you think he has the right to command us? Ah? Really? Even if Regal Pengu was alive, he probably wouldn't be able to do such a ridiculous thing, right? Among the god spirits of the human race, it was unknown who started it, but he revealed Zhou's battle results at the Supreme Council, shocking the god spirits of the human race who did not know about this. Of course, there were also many human god spirits who had clearly heard of this matter before coming. Their expressions did not change much, but even so, they could not help but look at Zhou again. Gradually, as more and more god spirits learned of Zhou's achievements, more and more human god spirits looked at him. It was as if he wanted to see what background this King of the Blazing Sun had to be able to do such a ridiculous thing. Zhou's expression was calm. Facing the gazes of the gods, his heart did not waver. Everyone get ready. I've just brought my troops back. Let my soldiers rest for an hour. In an hour, we'll set off to fight those fog monsters. He said. All right, 6th Counselor. We all listened to the King of the Blazing Sun. It's been a long time since I experienced such a large-scale battle. I really miss it. We the 4 Imperials will definitely do our best. For this true immortal realm weapon, let's do it. The immortals responded one after another. Chapter 848 Rich. Vast sea of Lord Talent crystal fragments. Let's forget the myths and legends of our hometown. For the time being, we'll use the actual situation of the Supreme Continent as the basis. When I have time, I'll see if I can go to Regal Panga's primordial world to take a look. Zhou thought to himself, Your Majesty, just now Legion Commander Bai Yin came over to say that the lords from the kingdom where the 16 Kings Alliance was located have all come over. They are currently waiting for His Majesty in conference room, one of the administrative hall. At this moment, Aaliyah's voice came from outside the door. Prime Minister, let's go take a look together. Zhou smiled at Zheng Yuanqi. Of course I'll listen to Your Majesty. Zheng Yuanqi chuckled. Zhou nodded. Then, the two of them walked out of the advanced grade Lord's Paradise and arrived at conference room 1 of the administrative hall. As soon as Zhou arrived, He saw more than 200,000 lords of different races gathered here. If not for the fact that the administrative hall had expanded after many territory upgrades, it would not have been able to accommodate so many lords gathered here. Even so, it was also very crowded here. "Greetings, Your Majesty." As soon as they walked into Conference Room 1, they heard earth-shattering cheers. All the people of foreign races lords were cheering for Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou raised his right hand and gently pressed it down. He heard the lords' voices gradually lower. Obeying orders. This was the prestige of the current king of the Blazing Sun among the lords, even if they had never seen it before. "Welcome to the Blazing Sun Kingdom," Zhou Zhou said. The lords responded, "Your Majesty, this is the specific list of all the lords in the territory of the original 16 Kingdoms Alliance. It records their abilities, strength, and previous lord experiences." At this moment, Bai Yin walked over from the side and sent a list of names to Zhou Zhou's personal terminal. Zhou Zhou glanced at it and smiled. There were a total of 253,681 people of foreign races, lords, who came from the original territory of the 16 Kings Alliance. How many Lord Talent crystal fragments would this provide him? Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. Then, he took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in his heart. He looked at the lords and said, "Since everyone can come here, most of you should know why I called you lords here. I'll explain to the lord who doesn't understand yet. The first reason I called you here is, firstly, this king wants to see how everyone's aptitude is. If your aptitude is good, this king will not be stingy with the rewards. Second purpose, it's for the sake of your future appointments in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Through today's parliament, we will arrange where everyone will take office in the future. Of course, in order for everyone to quickly adapt to the inauguration environment in the future and be able to showcase their strengths in their positions, our official personnel will also prioritize you to work in your own countries. We will also arrange specific official positions according to your ability, direction, and level. In terms of treatment, everyone should have heard about the treatment of officials in our Blazing Sun Kingdom. I believe everyone doesn't have to worry about this." When Zhou Zhou said the first few sentences, the people of foreign race lords did not react. However, when it came to treatment, the lords of the people of foreign races nodded repeatedly. The main reason why they were willing to continue serving under the Blazing Sun Kingdom was because the Blazing Sun Kingdom had given them too much. Seeing that the lords of the people of foreign races did not have any objections to his words, Zhou Zhou gave the staff beside him a look. The staff understood. He opened his personal terminal and sent a specific treatment regulation and reward and punishment regulation to the personal terminals of all the people of foreign race lords present. A small item like a personal terminal had already been released in the entire kingdom of the Blazing Sun. The lords present had already gotten one, so they had all received the contents of the specific rules and regulations. Zhou Zhou did not say anything at this moment, leaving them time to read and understand. A moment later, all the people of foreign races, lords, finished reading the specific rules and regulations. They looked at each other and saw the unconcealable joy in each other's eyes. Even though they had heard about it previously, they actually did not know what kind of treatment the Blazing Sun Kingdom received. They only knew a little about it. But now, after understanding it in detail, they realized how shocking the treatment of the Blazing Sun Kingdom was. This treatment is 10 times better than what I received in the Maple Moon Kingdom. I understand now. It turns out that at the end of the High Continent is the civil servant of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. This treatment, it's awesome. Even though I said that I have to complete certain performance requirements to secure my position in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, for this benefit, I can even fucking be a dog for the Blazing Sun Kingdom subject. Bring me along. I'm a member of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in life, and a ghost of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in death. The lords of the people of foreign races were extremely excited when they saw the treatment of the officials. Zhou Zhou watched this scene calmly as the notifications of the increase in loyalty kept ringing in his ears. Chapter 849 Legendary Tier Blessing of the War God. Legendary Tier Insight Defection. In a while, after you know your official position, you can go to the Quartermaster and receive at least 1,000 copies of the Yellow Gold Tier God Attendant Class Change Certificate, or the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate according to your loyalty, aptitude, and strength. These two soldier types are both kingdom-level soldier types. I believe you won't be disappointed. Zhou had obtained a large number of Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, and was in a good mood. He smiled and said to the lords, causing the lords of the people of foreign races to cheer. Seeing this, Zhou did not say anything else. He handed the rest to Zheng Yuanqi and left. Advanced Grade Lord's Paradise. In the study, Zhou sat in front of the desk. With a thought, he opened his Lord Talent panel. A total of 32 Lord Talents appeared in front of him. Every Lord Talent was enough to make countless lords go crazy. Zhou looked at these Lord Talents and began to think about how he should upgrade that Lord Talent. He now had quite a number of Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. He had 31 Epic Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, 25 Legendary Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, and even 6 Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. Without planning to create the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent, he could completely create 2 Legendary Tier Lord Talents. As for the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent, Zhou planned to only use the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent Crystal Fragment to create it. He did not plan to accumulate Legendary Tier and Legendary Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments to fuse them. After all, if he really wanted to save up, he did not know when he would be able to. A famous skit actor once said, "The biggest pain in life would be when a person did not spend his money when he was alive." Zhou's thoughts were very simple. Let's have fun first. Let's upgrade the blessing of the War God first. Zhou did not hesitate. He decided to increase his Lord Talent, which was the fastest to increase his strength. In the future, if he wanted to catch up to those top-notch race civilizations that had developed for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even longer, he would mainly rely on this Lord Talent. He first took out 10 Legendary Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments and fused them into a Legendary Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals. Then, he chanted in his heart to use them. The next second, the Legendary Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals in his hand emitted an even brighter golden light. A text notification appeared. As you have 4 Epic Tier Lord Talents, blessing of the 10 gods at the same time. Please choose one to advance. I choose the blessing of the 10 gods, blessing of the War God to advance. Zhou said without hesitation. Zhou felt that his talent intuition was enough for now. He did not think that there was a need to level up for the time being. A master of super quests. This talent was not bad, but it depended too much on luck. It was too random. Zhou did not plan to upgrade it. Zhou's attitude towards it was mainly up to fate. As for the Dark Walker, Zhou felt that the alchemist professionals were doing quite well. In addition, the Dark Walker's current ability was enough, so Zhou had no intention of upgrading it. Looking at it this way, upgrading the blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the War God, was the best choice. Lord Talent has been chosen. Upgrading in progress. The next second, he felt a familiar warm feeling between his eyebrows. Zhou was filled with anticipation. A moment later, the warmth on his forehead gradually disappeared. A new text notification appeared. Lord Talent upgrade successful. Congratulations, your Epic Tier Lord Talent, blessing of the 10 gods, blessing of the War God, has been upgraded to Legendary Tier Lord Talent, blessing of the 10 gods, blessing of the War God. You have leveled up to Legendary Tier Lord Talent effect, Lord Talent, blessing of the 10 gods, blessing of the War God, Legendary Tier, blessing of the 10 gods, blessing of the War God. One of the 10 main gods under the Supreme Will has blessed you and your combat type professionals. You and your combat type professionals will receive an additional 9,000% promotion energy after killing the enemy. Zhou looked at the bonus and nodded slightly. The increase in the effect of this Lord Talent was similar to what he had guessed previously. Epic Tier is 8,000%. The Legendary Tier is 9,000%. In other words, by killing an enemy, you can obtain an additional 90 times of promotion energy. Then at the mythical tier, the only level should be to obtain an additional 100 times of promotion energy, right? Zhou speculated. He suddenly felt that it was more than that. His previous legendary tier Lord talent, 100% drop rate, had undergone a qualitative change after advancing to the mythical tier. Even the name of his Lord talent had changed. He'll look at it when this Lord talent reaches the mythical tier level. Zhou thought to himself. He was looking forward to what effect the blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the war god, would have when it was upgraded to the mythical tier, unique level. As for the effect of the current legendary tier Lord talent, he was quite satisfied. The increase of 10 times the additional promotion energy was not a small number after all. Then, he took out 10 epic tier Lord talent crystal fragments and fused them into 1 epic tier Lord talent origin divine crystals. Then he upgraded the insight defection. The Lord talent, insight defection, could be said to be one of the most commonly used Lord talents. Now the number of insight defections has reached the upper limit. Since that was the case, it was time to upgrade it. Soon, as this epic tier Lord talent crystal fragment was consumed, the extraordinary tier insight defection was successfully upgraded. Lord talent, insight defection epic tier. Insight defection, a Lord's exclusive talent. When you fight the enemy Lord's faction head-on, you can activate the insight defection talent and make 25% of the enemy Lord's faction your loyal subordinate. Lord talent hint 1. The minimum number of enemies you can incite using the insight defection is 1 unit, and the maximum number of enemies you can incite using the insight defection is 1 million units. The loyalty of the enemies after using insight defection will be at least 89 points. Lord talent notification 2. Currently, the upper limit of the Lord faction level that you can induce insight defection is high tier deity level advanced grade Lord faction. This upper limit can grow. Lord talent notification 3. This talent can only be activated twice a day. Lord talent notification. This talent cannot be activated twice against the same Lord faction in the same day. Zhou looked at the enhanced insight defection and nodded. Whether it was the ratio of the number of insight defections, the upper limit of the number of enemies, or the upper limit of the enemy Lord faction of the insight defection, they had all clearly increased. Zhou did not hesitate. He consumed another 10 legendary tier Lord talent crystal fragments and created a legendary tier Lord talent origin divine crystals to upgrade insight defection to the legendary tier. Then, he looked at the latest information on the insight defection talent. Lord talent, insight defection legendary tier. Insight defection, a Lord's exclusive talent. When you fight the enemy Lord's faction head-on, you can activate the insight defection talent and make 25% of the enemy Lord's faction your loyal subordinate. After every 10 insight defections, a spellcaster who has mastered insight surrender will be born among the soldiers you instigate. If you send the spellcaster into the enemy camp to surrender, there will be a 10% chance that all the members of the enemy Lord's camp will surrender to your loyal subordinates. Lord talent notification 1. The minimum number of enemies for insight defection is 1 unit of enemies, and the maximum number of enemies for insight defection is 300 million units of enemies. The minimum loyalty of enemies after insight defection is 90 points. Lord talent notification 2. Currently, the upper limit of the feudal Lord faction level that you can induce insight defection is the true God tier elementary grade feudal Lord faction. This upper limit can grow. Lord talent notification 3. This talent can only be activated twice a day. Lord talent notification 4. This talent cannot be used twice against the same enemy Lord faction. Special Lord talent notification 5. When you use this Lord talent for the first time, you will obtain 100% of a spellcaster who has mastered the insight surrender skill. After reading the information about the insight surrender, Zhou's eyes immediately lit up with surprise. This insight defection talent actually has a new ability. Chapter 850 Upgrading the Lord Talent 1. The Spellcaster Who Mastered Insight Surrender? After Zhou calmed down, he began to think. He had heard of Spellcaster before. It was a type of strategist who was also eloquent, being able to turn black into white and white into black. An example would be when two countries fought. One was stronger and the other was weaker. At this time, if the weaker side had a spellcaster, they could send this spellcaster to the enemy country to negotiate. At that time, with spellcasters' courage, strategy, knowledge, and words, they might be able to persuade the stronger side to retreat. They might even be able to turn hostility into friendship. Of course, in most cases, spellcasters' success rate was extremely low. Only spellcasters with outstanding eloquence could accomplish such a feat of saving a country. Perfect. I'll be able to use my insight defection in the latter half of the night. By then, those fog monsters should have already arrived. At that time, I will have my number 1 spellcaster. Zhou was very satisfied. This legendary tier insight defection had indeed given him many surprises. Then, he looked at the other Lord Talents. After pondering for a moment, he continued to level up. First of all, his first upgrade was the Lord Talent, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life, which was currently at the extraordinary tier level. Now, under his 2 insight defections today, the number of soldiers under his command had already reached 4.3 billion. Moreover, as he developed in the future, the growth of the number of soldiers under his command would only become more and more exaggerated. Under such circumstances, as the main force of the Blazing Sun Kingdom's healing and resurrecting soldiers, the number and strength of the clergy in the Goddess of Life shelter had to keep up with the speed at which his strength increased, especially the number of clergymen and priests. As the only 2 divine duty classes who had mastered the small resurrection spell, 15 million clergymen and 15 million priests were still too few. Soon, as 10 epic tier Lord Talent crystal fragments were consumed, the Shelter of the Goddess of Lives Lord Talent successfully advanced to the epic tier level. Zhou looked at the upgraded Lord Talent information. He found that it was still the same as before. It only hinted that there was a special building in his territory, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Other than that, there were no other hints. Zhou shook his head and continued to upgrade his Lord Talent. He didn't think for long. He fused 10 epic tier Lord Talent crystal fragments into an epic tier Lord Talent origin divine crystals and used them on Monster Ranch. The Monster Ranch was one of the most fundamental reasons why he could have today's achievement. Naturally, Zhou would not forget this great contributor. After the upgrade was completed, he only had 1 epic tier Lord Talent crystal fragment. Then, he looked at the talent information of the epic tier Monster Ranch and realized that it was the same as the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. They only gave him a simple hint that his territory had the method to build the Monster Ranch, and then nothing else. Zhou did not mind. He also upgraded 8 Lord Talents: Mysterious Caravan, White Platinum tier, Alchemist Guild Diamond tier, Return to the City Diamond tier, Embrace of the Conqueror Diamond tier, Collector Diamond tier, Connate Spirit Body Diamond tier, Spirit Body 6 Diamond tier, Blessing of the 10 Gods, Wisdom Master God's Blessing Diamond tier. The remaining Zhou did not level up for the time being. One was because the advanced Lord Talent crystal fragment had almost been exhausted. He planned to keep the rest to upgrade the Lord Talent that concerned his path to becoming a god. On the other hand, he felt that there was no need to continue upgrading other Lord Talents. For example, the White Platinum tier Peach Luck and the Beauty Lord Talent. Zhou was not interested in upgrading them. There was also the Diamond tier Lord Talent, Gift of the Machina. Currently, Zhou felt that the galaxies were enough. There was even a lot of surplus that he had not used, so he did not upgrade it. He planned to keep their Lord Talent crystal fragments to level up his Lord Talent, King, in the future. A moment later, as 10 Diamond tier Lord Talent crystal fragments and 70 Extraordinary tier Lord Talent crystal fragments were consumed, all the Lord Talents had been upgraded. Zhou looked at the information of these Lord Talents. The more he looked at it, the wider the smile on his face grew. Lord Talent, Mysterious Caravan Diamond tier, Mysterious caravan. Your territory has a mysterious caravan blessed by the supreme will. You can send them out to buy resources needed by your territory, or sell goods made by your territory's subjects. Supreme blessing. Mysterious trading. In the eyes of your subjects, the mysterious caravan is just an ordinary caravan that helps the territory carry out transactions. In the eyes of outsiders, the mysterious caravan is a special caravan that will never be known. Outsiders will never know who it is working for, or what their ultimate goal is. Supreme blessing. Treasure hunting. Mysterious caravan has been blessed by the supreme will. It is easier for them to purchase rare and valuable random treasures during the trading process. Supreme blessing. Unlimited rite of passage. Kingdom level. The mysterious caravan can conduct business in any territory below the kingdom level. Even if it's a closed area that rejects living beings from the outside world, the mysterious caravan has the right to enter and carry out their business activities. Lord Talent. Alchemy Kingdom, Extraordinary Tier. Specific Talent Effect 1. Your country is extremely good at alchemy. Not only do you have a large number of alchemy masters of various elements, but you also have an endless stream of talented young alchemists. There were even alchemist professionals from the outside world who had traveled thousands of miles because they had heard of the Alchemy Kingdom's reputation. Due to various reasons, your country is also known as the Alchemy Kingdom by the life forms of the world. Specific Talent Effect 2. As an Alchemy Kingdom, every territory in your kingdom has a special building, Alchemy Union. In this Alchemy Union, a large number of alchemy pharmacists, alchemy technicians, alchemy techies, alchemy enchanters, and other alchemy professionals were gathered. They are engrossed in alchemy research, while selling a large number of alchemy class products to the outside world in order to buy expensive alchemy equipment. They will provide a large number of jobs and taxes for your country. Specific Talent Effect 3. As the master of the Alchemy Kingdom, you can let these alchemy professionals be at your disposal. This includes, but is not limited to, Mist Core. Send your subjects to the Alchemy Union for further training, and then change their occupation to alchemy professionals. Unconditional mobilization of the Alchemist Union's resources, and get the alchemist professionals work for you unconditionally. Specific Talent Effect 4. When you and your subordinate forces go out to hunt fog monsters, you will encounter fog monsters that have a certain probability of dropping alchemy series items. This includes but is not limited to the alchemy potion recipe, alchemy technology product blueprint, alchemy materials pack, alchemy technician recruitment order, alchemy items. Chapter 851 Upgrading the Lord Talent 2. Lord Talent. Return to the city, Extraordinary Tier. Return to the city. No matter where you are, you can return to your territory anytime and anywhere. In the next 8 seconds, you can restore 100% of your physical state. You can also specify 50 million life forms, or 50 million units of supplies, to return to your territory together. If the specified life form is a life form, it will recover 50% of its physical state in the next half an hour. Lord Talent Notification. This talent can be activated 10 times a day. Lord Talent. Embrace of the Conqueror, Extraordinary Tier. Embrace of the Conqueror. 1. Every time a lord conquers a territory, he can attract a different number of classless subjects to join his territory. 2. Every time a lord conquered a regional territory, he could attract a different number of professional subjects to join his territory. 3. Every time a lord conquered a kingdom, he could obtain the loyalty of 3 heroes with the Extraordinary Tier Hero Fate level slot, 2 heroes with the Epic Tier Hero Fate level slot, and 1 hero with the Legendary Tier Hero Fate level slot. 4. Every time a lord conquered an empire, he could obtain the loyalty of 3 heroes with the low-tier deity level, and 1 hero with the mid-tier deity level hero's fate level. 5. Every time a lord conquers a divine kingdom, he can obtain the loyalty of 3 of his own race's heroes, who have the true God tier hero fate level. Lord Talent Collector Extraordinary Tier. Scavenger. You are a well-known collector. You have countless treasures that are recognized by the outside world, but can't be obtained. As a collector, you are obsessed with the treasures of the world. You have a greedy intuition towards the treasures that exist within a 1 million-kilometer radius around you. You can acutely sense the location of the treasures. At the same time, if the treasure in your collection has characteristics such as time limit or endurance, you can rely on your rich collection and preservation experience to find a way to extend the usage of this treasure. It can extend the usage by up to 5 times. At special moments, you can also activate your collector's power to temporarily increase the number of uses of this treasure. However, the usage of this overdraft treasure often comes with a certain price. When you extract the loot from the corpse, the drop rate will increase by an additional 30%. Lord Talent. Heavenly Blessed Divine Bodies Extraordinary Tier. Connate Spirit Body. Your territory's subject in your constitution are Heavenly Blessed Divine Bodies. Your potential has increased by a large level. The highest level is no higher than low-tier deity level advanced grade. There would not be any harmful impurities in the body in the Heavenly Blessed Divine Bodies. It would be easier to absorb the energy of heaven and earth. At the same time, it would be easier to break through the bottleneck of the realm. Even if the breakthrough failed, it would not cause harm to the body. Creatures with the Heavenly Blessed Divine Bodies have a 5% increase in success rate when advancing to the God Spirit realm. Lord Talent. Spirit Body 7 Extraordinary Tier. Spirit Body 7. Cultivate Constitution Type Lord Talent. You and your subject have a cultivation constitution like Spirit Body 7. When cultivating martial arts, elemental meditation, chi refinement meditation, and other cultivation actions, the efficiency of absorbing promotion energy will increase by 5,000%. Even if you and your subjects don't cultivate, the promotion energy wandering in the world will automatically fuse into your body and accelerate your strength realm. Lord Talent. Blessing of the 10 Gods. Wisdom Master God's Blessing, Extraordinary Tier. Blessing of the 10 Gods. Wisdom Master God's Blessing. The Wisdom Master God's blessing of one of the 10 Master Gods under the Supreme Will. The Wisdom Master God has blessed you and your wisdom-related professionals. When you and your wisdom-related professionals carry out wisdom-related professional actions, you will receive an additional 4,000% promotion energy. There is also a chance of obtaining more wisdom and inspiration when carrying out wisdom creation-related actions. After reading it, Jojo was so happy that he almost laughed out loud. It was not in vain that he had spent so many precious Lord Talent crystal fragments to upgrade them. The upgraded Lord Talent's effect was indeed extraordinary. For example, after the mysterious caravan leveled up to Diamond Tier, there were no changes in other aspects. There was an additional supreme blessing called Treasure Hunt. Even though there were no obvious benefits now, this was clearly an improvement in the future. Maybe one day, Zheng Fugue and the others would send him some kind of treasure? The Diamond Tier Lord Talent. Alchemist Guild was upgraded to Extraordinary Lord Talent, Alchemist Kingdom. Not only had its name changed, but its innate ability had also been improved in all aspects. In the future, when he researched and developed the Dark Walker's secret medicine, it should be easier to develop the Dark Walker potion with better effects. After the Extraordinary Tier Return to the City leveled up, the greatest benefit was that when he used Return to the City in the future, he no longer needed that 1 second of chanting time. On the battlefield, the timing was ever-changing. At this critical moment, he might be able to escape a life-and-death crisis. Apart from that, the number of people and resources that Return to the City could cover increased from 10 million to 50 million. The number of usages had also increased from the previous 4 to more than 10. They were all very practical improvements. The increase in the Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, might seem good, but it was nothing to Jojo. This was because Jojo had a large number of hero inheritance manuals provided by the King of Loots. Furthermore, he had generously distributed them. It could be said that there was no lack of heroes in his territory. After the collector reached the Extraordinary Tier level, be it sensing the range of the treasure or extending the use of the treasure, they had all improved. As for the Diamond Tier Lord Talent Connate Spirit Body, the upgrade to the Heavenly Blessed Divine Bodies surprised Jojo. Even though its effects still increased its potential by a large level, its upper limit had increased from the previous legendary advanced grade to low-tier deity level advanced grade. One step away. However, it gave those subjects who were only one step away from becoming gods a chance to break through to the god spirit level. In addition, the heavenly blessed divine bodies could increase the probability of becoming a god. In the future, his territory might be able to rely on this Lord talent to give birth to a few more local god spirits. As for the upgrade of Spirit Body 7, it increased the efficiency of him and his subjects in absorbing the promotion energy by 10 times. This was also a rather astonishing improvement. As for the blessing of the 10 gods, Wisdom Master God's blessing, after it was upgraded to extraordinary level, the additional promotion energy obtained by the intelligent-related professionals under his command increased from 4,000% to 5,000% when they carried out intelligent-related class actions. It was also a huge improvement. After upgrading all his Lord talents, Zhou looked at how many Lord talent crystal fragments he had left. He realized that there was a total of 2,156,522 black iron tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 2,587,413 green bronze tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 9,239 white silver tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 5,895 yellow gold tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 1,600 white platinum tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 355 diamond tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 12 extraordinary tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 1 epic tier Lord talent crystal fragment, 5 legendary tier Lord talent crystal fragments, 6 mythical tier unique Lord talent crystal fragments. Looks like a lot, but there wouldn't be much if I fuse it into an advanced Lord talent crystal fragment. I still have to conquer more people of foreign race lords. Zhou lamented. Then he called Aaliyah, Mugu, Zheng Fugui and Carol Moeli over. Chapter 852 Lord Talent Improvement. A moment later, Mugu Zheng Fugui and Carol Moeli came to Zhou. Greetings, Your Majesty. The three of them said respectfully. Can you feel the improvements in your bodies? Tell me the details. Zhou smiled at the three of them. Yes, Your Majesty. The three of them nodded, and Mugu was naturally the first to walk out. Your Majesty, my current strength is still that of an extraordinary tier advanced grade rancher. However, the number of monster shepherds under me has increased from 15,000 to 50,000. In addition, the number of monster ranches in my ranchland continent has also increased from 700 to 1,000 today. Moreover, the maximum capacity of each monster ranch has increased from 700,000 to 1 million. Moreover, the fog monsters nurtured in every monster ranch are more likely to give birth to high-level fog monsters instead of low-level fog monsters. The proportion of high-level fog monsters in the monster ranch will increase greatly. And, when Mugu said this, he suddenly stretched out his right hand. A somewhat illusory scarlet ball appeared in his fair palm. The ball was enveloped by the scarlet fog. One could vaguely see that it was a complete world with mountains, rivers, rising and setting suns, and the cycle of all things. Mugu said in a deep voice, My ranchland continent has already evolved from a single continent to a complete plain world. With the scale of the plain world, the ranchland continent shouldn't be called the ranchland continent anymore. It should be called the ranchland plain. The total area of the ranchland continent has also increased from more than 1.5 million square kilometers of the previous ranch continent to more than 10 million square kilometers. I have a feeling that the growth potential of the ranchland plain has greatly increased. If it can continue to grow, it should be able to advance to a true small world, middle world, and even the boundless universe in the future. Towards the end, Mugu boldly imagined the future of his ranchland plain. Zhou nodded. Mugu's speculation was not unreasonable. All paths lead to the same destination. After reaching a certain level, they would eventually advance to the concept of a world. It was the same for the original spirit race and the true god tier. Mugu's future path should be similar. In that case, Then wouldn't the monsters produced by the Ranchland continent tomorrow reach 1 billion? At this thought, Zhou's eyes lit up. It had to be known that every yellow gold tier god attendant or violent storm demon spirit could drop 3 class change certificates and recruitment books from his king of loots. If these 3 billion fog monsters were all used to nurture the yellow gold tier god attendant and the violent storm demon spirit, wouldn't they drop 9 billion recruitment books and 9 billion class change certificates? My good lord. In that case, it's very likely that my soldiers will directly break through the 10 billion mark tomorrow? Zhou clicked his tongue. At the same time, he was very happy. Even though most of the soldiers were black iron tier elementary grade soldiers, going to the battlefield he needed to face now was no different from courting death. However, now that he had the legendary level blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the war god, at most, he could spend 2 days raising the strength of these new recruits to the white-silver level. White-silver tier strength was enough for the soldiers to barely have the strength to protect themselves on the battlefield. When the time came, they could use them boldly. Of these 1,000 monster ranches, 400 are used to nurture yellow gold tier god attendants, 400 are used to nurture violent storm demon spirits, and the remaining 200 are reserved for the mechanical fear falcon, 50 for the iron-eating bear, and 100 for the withering number. That's the plan for now. Zhou thought for a moment and said, the wings dropped by the mechanical fear falcon, the Type 3 radar of the fear falcon, and the pet egg dropped by the iron-eating bear actually had alternative spoils of war in other aspects. But they were not as stable as the monster ranch. Hence, Zhou left them very little. However, not only could the withered tree drop the jade sun tree seed, but most importantly, it could also drop the tree core gem, lowering the equipment requirements. Zhou had never seen such a special item before. Therefore, the share of its monster ranch definitely could not decrease. It might even increase the share of its monster ranch in the future. Yes, Your Majesty. Mu Gu nodded respectfully. Zhou looked at Zheng Fugui. When Zheng Fugui saw this, he stood up with a smile. Your Majesty, the number of mysterious merchant has increased from 100,000 to 200,000. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 100,000. Also, all the mysterious merchants' abilities have been upgraded to epic tier elementary grade. The internal space of each mysterious merchant's mysterious ring has also increased from the original 3 million cubic meters to 10 million cubic meters. Finally, we also have an additional treasure hunting ability. We can have a chance to buy rare and valuable treasures during the business process. Very good. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Currently, Zheng Fugui's mysterious caravan, apart from traveling around the high continent and purchasing treasures, had another more important job. It was to help the Blazing Sun Kingdom sell local products and excess loot to the lords in the high continent. Previously, the profits that the mysterious caravan brought to the Blazing Sun Kingdom accounted for about 10% of the entire Blazing Sun Kingdom's profits. After this upgrade, even without the new ability of treasure hunting, the benefits that the mysterious caravan brought to the Blazing Sun Kingdom would probably increase by 3 to 4 times. Then, Zhou looked at Carol Moeli. Your Majesty, the shelter of the Goddess of Life now has a total of 50 million clergymen, 50 million priests, 50 million nuns, and 1 billion holy knights of life. My strength has also advanced to the high-tier deity level elementary grade. Carol Moeli stepped forward and said with a faint smile. Zhou smiled and nodded. Another high-tier deity level combat power. Even though Carol Moeli, a high-tier deity level combatant, could not participate in his war, she could only use her healing and resurrection abilities to revive others. These abilities could only be used by him at the cost of faith divine crystals, but that didn't matter. Zhou didn't lack ordinary faith divine crystals. In most cases, he could ask Carol Moeli to help him. He just lacked Holy Spirit level faith divine crystals. Then, Zhou chatted with the 3 of them for a while. After understanding more information, he let them leave. After they left, Zhou thought about what else he could do. After thinking for a while, he suddenly thought of something. The Dragon Lady Lord, and the others had been his subordinates for a long time. But he did not seem to have let them experience any relatively strong combat power with him. Tell them to come and help too. Even though I might not be able to help. Zhou shook his head and did not think too much about it. He opened his friend list and created a group. He pulled in all the lords of the Star Alliance, Dragon Lady Lord, and the other 20 kings of Cerulean Planet. Chapter 853 Excited Lords of the Cerulean Planet, Military Industry Lord. This group is really good, definitely included all the top lords of the Cerulean Planet. Mystic Heaven Kingdom, Mystic Heaven Lord. Your Majesty, do you need us to do anything since you created this group? Overlord Kingdom, Overlord Lord, do you need us to fight? I've wanted to experience the battles your Majesty experiences daily since a long time ago. Heavenly Commerce Kingdom, Heavenly Commerce Lord. The Overlord is indeed heroic. A businessman like me still likes to stand behind the soldiers and listen to the general's commands when leading troops. Overlord Country, Overlord Lord. I've cultivated my martial arts, so of course I have to rush to the front and fight. Otherwise, my bright muscles and my bloodline ability will be wasted. Dragon Blood Kingdom, Dragon Lady Lord. What are your Majesty's orders? Blazing Sun Kingdom, Intermediate Grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Do you want to participate in the largest war that the lords of all races can experience at this stage? Zhou typed. The battle that they might have to experience tonight could definitely be said to be the highest level battle that the lords of the myriad races would definitely not be able to come into contact with at this stage. Even some Empire-level lord factions that had just been established might not have seen such a terrifying lineup of fog monster lord factions. As the lord ranked first on the current rankings, he had the confidence and qualifications to say this. After he finished speaking, the top-notch lords of Cerulean Planet immediately fell silent. After a while, the Dragon Lady Lord sent a message. Dragon Lady Lord, Your Majesty, are you working with another Empire-level Scarlet Fog Monster faction? Dragon Lady Lord mentioned the most exaggerated outcome she had imagined. They couldn't possibly start a war with the Divine Kingdom now, right? Then she saw a light voice message. Blazing Sun Kingdom, Intermediate Grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun. That's not it. This king must have killed some of the fog monsters too ruthlessly. In the end, the fog monsters actually joined forces to suppress me. Blazing Sun Kingdom, Intermediate Grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun. They have gathered about 12 Empire-level Scarlet Legions and more than 200 Kingdom-level Scarlet Legions. Their total military strength is about 5 billion Scarlet Fog soldiers and about 100 Scarlet God Spirits. They will all participate in tonight's war against the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Blazing Sun Kingdom, Intermediate Grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Join me if you have time. I don't need you to show off. You can stay amidst my army and try not to get close to the heart of the battle. Otherwise, your army may be implicated during the battles with the other god spirits. Dragon Blood Kingdom, Dragon Lady Lord. Military Industry Kingdom, Military Industry Lord. Mystic Heaven Kingdom, Mystic Heaven Lord. Heavenly Commerce Kingdom, Heavenly Commerce Lord. Is His Majesty really going through the same version of the fight for supremacy as us? Why do I feel that my version has only been updated to the initial version, but His Majesty is already in the middle and late version? However, don't worry, Your Majesty. I'll bring my troops over immediately. Dragon Blood Kingdom, Dragon Lady Lord. Actually, I've had this feeling since the beginning. I'll gather the army and come over through the teleportation array. Overlord, Overlord Lord. This is the battle I yearn for. I'll be right there. Military Industry Kingdom, Military Industry Lord. Your Majesty, I'll come over later. I'll bring more firearms. Recently, the domestic weapons engineers have researched the manufacturing method of the Red Planet RPG. Currently, 13,500 have been manufactured. I'll bring them all over. The various lords had money supplied money, those who had strength supplied manpower, and those who had resources supplied resources. No one was playing tricks. They were all doing their best. Under the influence of high loyalty, even though some of them would be afraid of the upcoming war. None of them had the thought of escaping from Zhou rule. Zhou smiled when he saw this scene. Afraid of war? Then, through tonight's battle he would raise their courage and knowledge. Looking at the Lords of the Star Alliance, even though it was their first time experiencing a war of this scale, they were not afraid at all. They even discussed how to fight in high spirits. They were also thinking about insight defection. Zhou suddenly thought of something. Then, he shared the epic tier insight defection and the epic tier blessing of the war god with the human kings of Cerulean Planet and the Lords of the Star Alliance. The Dragon Lady Lord, the human king of Cerulean Planet, the spiritual medicine lord, and the other Lords of the Star Alliance were shocked when they saw the latest shared Lord talent. 30% insight defection ratio. He could use it twice a day. Obtained an additional 8,000% promotion energy. No matter which one it was, the Lords couldn't stop smiling. At that time, the chat group was filled with words like, "Thank you, Your Majesty," "Long live Your Majesty," and "Your Majesty is awesome." Zhou sent the last message with an unchanged expression. Blazing Sun Kingdom, intermediate grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun, work hard tonight. These fog monsters are enemies to others, but to us, they are our treasures. Military Industry Kingdom, Military Industry Lord, just do it. Heavenly Commerce Kingdom, Heavenly Commerce Lord. I suddenly thought of a scene. Tell me, if we use insight defection on these 12 Empire-level Scarlet Legions, and more than 200 Kingdom-level Scarlet Legions, wouldn't their 5 billion-strong Scarlet Fog Army be incited by our insight defections? 5 billion-strong army in the blink of an eye. Fuck, just thinking about it is a little exciting. Overlord Kingdom, Overlord Lord. This is indeed the way. When the time comes, well, let the fog monster soldiers who instigated the insight defection directly fight among themselves. We guarantee that we'll be able to deal a heavy blow to these Scarlet Fog forces. At that time, they'll probably lose half of their troops before the battle even begins. Mystic Heaven Kingdom, Mystic Heaven Lord. Haha, so tragic, but it's interesting to imagine. At this moment, the Lords were relying on the superpower of insight defection, and were a little optimistic. Zhou's expression was calm. He did not feel that victory was in his grasp. 12 Empire-level Scarlet Legions. Generally speaking, most of the Empire-level Scarlet Lord factions are connected to some of their true bodies. They are even Lord factions protected by true God tier. Even if the true God tiers behind these empires can't personally take action, due to the Supreme Agreement, they will probably bestow some methods to cause some trouble for us. However, there's no other way. Now is the time to get ready. Then if we meet on a narrow path, the brave will win. Zhou's eyes were dark. In the time that followed, the Lords of the Cerulean Planet also went to prepare for tonight's battle. Meanwhile, Zhou received a piece of news from Gerton, who had come to look for him. His teacher, Geralt, had just finished making the Demon Hunter's class change secret medicine. He could go over and change his class. Chapter 854, Changing Class to Demon Hunter. Facing the Abyss. Advanced Grade Lord's Paradise. In the pharmaceutical laboratory, Zhou looked at the extra-large black gold bathtub in front of him. The bathtub was filled with a dark purple liquid that glowed with a crystalline light. It looked like a purple starry sky. His nose twitched slightly, and he actually smelled a refreshing smell. This is the hunter's secret potion? Zhou looked curiously at Geralt, who was drinking tea at the side. Yes. Geralt nodded lightly. And it's the top-notch secret medicine for a hunter's job change. It's called the Dragon of the Abyss. Dragons are the symbol of the top bloodline in the myriad worlds. In the name of dragon, it's enough to prove the top-notch effect of this top-notch hunter's secret medicine on the development of demon bloodlines and class advancement. Even if the bloodline in His Majesty's body is the legendary Master God tier demon bloodline, this Abyss Dragon secret medicine can still be perfectly developed. To His Majesty, it's more than enough. As Geralt said these words, his gaze could not help but fall on the mysterious secret medicine that was like a purple starry sky. A pained look appeared in his eyes. Even if he was the top existence in the demon hunter profession, he could not produce a few of such top-notch secret medicines. If not for the fact that his disciple Gerton had obtained a huge improvement from the King of the Blazing Sun, and Gerald had no choice but to accept the favor of the King of the Blazing Sun. He would not be willing to pay such a huge price to prepare such a secret medicine for the King of the Blazing Sun. Jojo was surprised and happy to hear that. The first demon bloodline in his body was the top-notch Master God tier advanced grade bloodline. Then this abyssal dragon profession change potion was simply suitable for him. He was really afraid that Gerald would take out an ordinary demon hunter profession change elixir and let him become an incomplete demon hunter professionals. However, there was no more need to worry. Thank you, Your Holiness Gerald. When I become a demon hunter, I will definitely give His Majesty a generous gift, Jojo said as he looked at the class change secret medicine with a satisfied expression. Gerald nodded nonchalantly. As an intermediate grade kingdom's king, no matter how shocking his performance was among the lords of the myriad races, what kind of gift could he bring out to tempt him? A high-tier deity level advanced grade god spirit? Jojo didn't say anything when he saw he like this. He only smiled. You only need to enter it? Jojo said. Take off your clothes, Gerald said. After that, I'll activate the exclusive secret formation of the Dragon of the Abyss for His Majesty. This way, the power of the demon bloodline in His Majesty's body can be stimulated to the greatest extent in the shortest time possible, and the demon hunter profession can be activated. Sure. Jojo did not beat around the bush. There was nothing to be embarrassed about as two grown men. He put away his clothes and entered the bathtub. As soon as he entered, Jojo felt a violent and domineering power rush into his body from the purple liquid, wanting to activate the power of the demon bloodline in the deepest part of his body. However, he did not know if it was because the first demon bloodline in his body was too strong, or because of other reasons. No matter how this violent and domineering power stimulated his physical potential, the power of the first demon bloodline in his body was like a strong adult facing a child's fist. There was not much fluctuation throughout the entire process. Only a trace of the power of the first demon bloodline was triggered and fused into his body, increasing his origin power by about 1/10,000. At the same time, Gerald looked at the secret medicine changing liquid that was trembling slightly and could not help but fall into deep thought. His gaze landed on Jojo. The power of the secret medicine was actually consumed so quickly. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. His Majesty's demon bloodline doesn't look ordinary. It seems to be stronger than the demon bloodline in my body. When Gerald thought of this, he could not help but click his tongue. One had to know that the demon bloodline in his body was the demon bloodline of a low-level master god, Demogorgon. This demon lord was one of the 3 famous giants of the abyss. But even so, this had not happened when he had changed his profession to demon hunter. It could be seen how high the level of the demon bloodline of this human king was. An intermediate grade master god tier, or even an advanced grade master god? At this moment, Gerald thought of many famous abyssal existences. Who is it? Gerald looked at Jojo, who was absorbing the power of the secret medicine with his eyes closed, and his eyes gradually lit up. What a good seedling for a demon hunter. He did not expect to meet a human junior who was so suitable to inherit the demon hunter profession after coming out of the abyss to meet his disciple. An idea suddenly appeared in Gerald's mind. Should he accept the other party as his disciple? With such a disciple with astonishing potential, in addition to his experience and legacy, as long as he taught him everything, he might be able to witness the moment when King of the Blazing Sun became a true god tier, or even a master god tier. If the King of the Blazing Sun really became the legendary master god tier, it would be immeasurable for the human race, and even for the myriad races. He stopped thinking about it. Gerald bit his right index finger, and gently dripped a drop of black blood on the ground in front of the bathtub. The moment the drop of black blood landed on the ground, it suddenly burned into a ball of pitch-black flames. Then, as if it had triggered a domino, this ball of black flames quickly spread in all directions with the bathtub as the center, forming a circular black fire magic array. Geralt formed seals with both hands and chanted, instilling his divine power into the magic formation. Then, the black fire array suddenly flared up and enveloped Jojo, who was in the bathtub. Geralt maintained his divine power output, while looking at Jojo with a grave expression. "What kind of power you can obtain next will depend on you," he said softly. When Geralt activated the profession change magical formation, Jojo felt that the power gushing out from the liquid of the profession change elixir had suddenly increased by more than 10 times. The pressure on Jojo's body suddenly increased by 10 times, or even 100 times. He took a deep breath as the powerful chaos will suppress the intense pain coming from his body. But in the next moment, a deep purple eye appeared in his mind like an abyssal sun. This eye was like a supreme abyssal ruler, emitting a terrifying abyssal aura and pressure. Even true god-tier existences like the Yellow Emperor, Patriarch Lu, and by he couldn't give him such a terrifying feeling. The Master God tier. This terrifying thought instantly surfaced in Jojo's mind. The owner of this eye was a Master God tier. Only an existence at the Master God tier level could give him such terrifying pressure. As for who this Master God tier was, Jojo didn't need to think too much about it. Because there was only one possibility. That was the owner of the demon bloodline in his body. First demon, Deep Abyss. It was once the creation of the Abyss Will, and the original Lord of the Abyss. However, just as he was about to unify the Abyss, he suddenly had the thought of rebelling against the Abyss Will. He was a terrifying existence that was sentenced by the Abyss Will to eternal dismemberment. Chapter 855 Desperation and Doubt. This first bloodline actually has such a disadvantage. Jojo's expression was ugly. The last time was the remnant soul of a true god-tier Black Dragon Emperor. This time, it was the Master God-tier Deep Abyss again. It was related to high-level items like bloodlines and souls, but the risk of using it was actually so great. These thoughts were born and destroyed in Jojo's mind in an instant. The next second, the eye of Deep Abyss in the sky suddenly released a pressure 10 times stronger than before. At this moment, the chaos will that Jojo was so proud of could not even withstand a second before he felt a soul-tearing pain. The next second, boom, his soul turned into chaos. At this moment, even though Jojo's physical body and soul were still intact, he was already dead. It was a death of consciousness, and it could also be said that he was shocked. When the eye of Deep Abyss saw this scene, a faint smile appeared in its dark purple eyes. It muttered to itself. However, any true god tier, or even most master god tiers, would not be able to understand what Deep Abyss was saying. After muttering to himself, he approached Jojo and he stopped immediately. The pair of dark purple eyes looked at Jojo solemnly. To be precise, it was a crown that suddenly appeared above Jojo's head. This crown was completely grayish-white, and there were 3 small mountain-like bumps in front of it. It looked ancient and mysterious. It was the crown of the final. It floated above the head of Jojo, whose consciousness had already disappeared. Wisps of grayish-white airflow emerged from the crown and slowly wrapped around his consciousness, preventing outsiders from seeing what was inside. Soon the grayish-white airflow dissipated. After Jojo appeared, he immediately opened his eyes. Then, he saw Deep Abyss speaking to the crown of the final in a language he didn't understand. "You!" Before Jojo could say anything, the Deep Abyss glanced at him again, and Jojo fell into unconsciousness again. Then, Deep Abyss watched helplessly as the crown of the final emitted wisps of grayish-white airflow again, enveloping Jojo and allowing him to regain consciousness. Jojo, who had been resurrected for the second time, calmed down. In this 1 second of survival, he had already figured out what had happened. He had been killed by the Deep Abyss with some kind of method, and then revived at the consciousness level by the crown of the final that suddenly appeared. He looked at the number of resurrections of the crown of the final. 32 times. Actually, he had only up to 24 times previously. However, after he obtained the Advanced Kingdom token of the New Wind Demon Kingdom, the crown of the final admitted that he had destroyed an Advanced Kingdom. It directly rewarded him with 1,000 points of final Nirvana power, allowing him to revive 10 times, bringing the total number of revivals to an astonishing 34. Now that he had used it twice, it had become 32 times. He didn't have time to think about it before Zhou was killed by Deep Abyss Gaze again, and his consciousness disappeared again. After the third resurrection, Zhou wanted to forcefully get rid of the bloodline stimulation in front of him. Even if he didn't want this demon hunter profession, he didn't want to waste his resurrection chances like this. And yet, he realized that he seemed to be trapped in this class change world by the Deep Abyss Eye. He could not leave this world. Zhou suddenly remembered. This was how it was like to change one's class to Demon Hunter. Creatures who wanted to change their class to Demon Hunter had to defeat the remaining demonic will in their demon bloodline in their inner world during the class change process. Only then could they control the power of the demon bloodline and become a true demon hunter. Still, I'm a fucking legendary tier. Are you sure you're not joking with an advanced grade master god? Even the protagonist in the story, who could fight above his level, was not so powerful. In the next moment, Zhou was killed by the Deep Abyss again, and his consciousness was obliterated. After the fourth resurrection, Zhou's heart turned cold. He looked into Deep Abyss eyes and saw the obvious mockery in his eyes. He seemed to be saying something else. So what if you can revive? The number of times you can revive is limited. As long as you are constantly killed by me, when the number of times you can revive is exhausted, your final outcome will still be death. And you, so what? Zhou realized. He had encountered the most dangerous crisis since he descended to the high continent. What should I do? Zhou thought calmly. He still had 32 resurrection moments to resolve the crisis in front of him. After the fifth resurrection, Zhou said without hesitation, "Please show yourself, divine ancestor." A terrifying phantom of a dragon appeared in this world. It was the legendary dragon that Zhou had summoned with his extreme dragon race bloodline secret technique. The extreme world-honored dragon. Even if ordinary extreme dragon race beings used such a bloodline secret technique, it was absolutely impossible for them to summon such an existence. However, Zhou had the legendary dragon bloodline of the light sacred dragon. He also had the current light sacred dragon, Ingersoll, under his command. This allowed him to have a deep relationship with the legendary dragon. That was why he could summon the extreme world-honored dragon at this stage. However, the price was also huge. He could feel that the extreme dragon race bloodline in his body had already fallen to an extremely thin level. He would probably not be able to summon the extreme world-honored dragon through this method in the future. The only good news was that although his extreme dragon race bloodline had been weakened, he could still slowly recover by eating some god-tier bloodline supplements in the future. He would not lose the power of the extreme dragon race. However, he could no longer summon the extreme world-honored dragon. However, before the extreme world-honored dragon's body could completely condense in this profession change space, the Deep Abyss Eye looked coldly at the extreme world-honored dragon's body. Under Zhou's incredulous gaze, there was a boom, followed by a grunt. The dragon body that the extreme world-honored dragon had yet to condense was actually shattered by Deep Abyss gaze. Zhou was flabbergasted, his heart palpitating in fear. The extreme world-honored dragon was also a master god-tier existence. Furthermore, it was a master god-tier existence that was still alive. How could it be shattered by the Deep Abyss with only one eye? This simply overturned Zhou's worldview. None of the top bloodline inheritances in Zhou's mind could explain such a thing. Deep Abyss. He was definitely not an ordinary master god tier. Then he died. In the subsequent resurrections, Zhou used the various lord talent techniques, bloodline talent techniques, true god tier divine artifacts, law skills. However, Zhou's methods were useless against Deep Abyss, who could shatter the extreme world-honored dragon's body with a single glance. Soon, out of his 32 resurrections, he only had 4 left. The more desperate Zhou was, the calmer he became. He suddenly realized a problem. The resurrection power of the final nirvana would allow his strength to break through to a certain level after he underwent nirvana. But now, he could feel that his current strength and realm had still stopped at the legendary tier advanced grade, and was advancing to the god spirit realm. Even his soul had only become 100 times more solid, because he had been resurrected many times. But there had been no multiple breakthroughs. Then, where did he undergo nirvana? Chapter 856 Light Like Will. The third resurrection from the end. After Zhou Zhou regained consciousness, he immediately sensed the changes in his body. However, the situation was not good for him. His cultivation realm was still stuck at the legendary tier advanced grade, due to his law skills. His strength did not increase. His soul realm only increased by 1 level, but there was no qualitative change. Zhou Zhou indeed felt that he had improved in a certain aspect. This improvement was hidden in the deepest part of his consciousness. Every time his consciousness was destroyed and revived, it was greatly tempered. After the improvement of the power of the final nirvana, it was greatly strengthened. However, Zhou Zhou didn't notice the huge improvement in his consciousness. If it was an ordinary lord, at this moment, even with the enhancement of the power of final nirvana, he probably wouldn't be able to realize what his improvement was. But Zhou Zhou was not. All kinds of bloodlines, treasures, titles, race divine artifacts, and lord talents were augmented with astonishing comprehension. At this moment it was displayed. After he realized that he had indeed obtained some kind of mysterious improvement, almost before his consciousness disappeared the next time, he realized what aspect of his improvement was. It's willpower. It's a will that I barely condensed after my consciousness underwent the refinement of the extreme resurrection process and 32 breakthroughs of the power of the final nirvana. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. When he realized this, it was as if something had been awakened from the deepest part of his consciousness. At this moment, Zhou Zhou's consciousness emitted a faint white light, making him look like a god. A supreme pressure emitted from his will. If a life form saw Zhou Zhou at this moment, even if the other party was a true god tier, Zhou Zhou's figure would leave an indelible mark in the depths of the other party's heart like a belief. At the same time, the eye of Deep Abyss looked at Zhou Zhou calmly again. An incomparably huge willpower impact landed on Zhou Zhou's will body. In the end, the willpower that could easily destroy Zhou Zhou's consciousness seemed to be like a breeze. It only made Zhou Zhou frown slightly. Then, as if nothing had happened, he chuckled softly. I see. This is the will condensation method that I couldn't completely memorize when I absorbed the first demon bloodline. And now I've completely remembered it. With the help of the revival effect, I've directly stepped into the door of condensing willpower and entered the stage of will-like light. The me I am now have a will-like light. When the light shines on my body, I will not be destroyed. As long as my heart doesn't age, I will never age. As long as my heart doesn't die, I will never die. Even if my body and soul are destroyed, I can exist in this world. However, I will lose my cultivation realm and become an existence similar to the world's will. So, with only one eye, you can't hurt me anymore. Am I right, Deep Abyss? Zhou Zhou looked into Deep Abyss' eyes and said with a faint smile. Deep Abyss looked at him silently. After a long time, it made that strange sound again. However, Zhou Zhou, who had already entered the threshold of condensing willpower and had entered the stage of willpower being like light, could magically understand it. This was because the Deep Abyss spoke a language at the level of will. Only those who had achieved something in terms of willpower could understand. If one did not achieve anything at the level of willpower, even true God tier and Master God tier would not be able to understand what the Deep Abyss was saying. For example, the extreme world-honored dragon just now. And what Deep Abyss had just said was, I am not convinced. I have no resentment for losing to the Abyss will. But why did I lose to an ant like you? The Deep Abyss roared. Everything has its cause and effect. You really don't understand? Zhou Zhou said calmly. Speaking of which, the Deep Abyss was indeed miserable. His achievements in willpower should far exceed his own. He might even have reached a higher level of willpower. However, he had long been dismembered by the Abyss will. The real Deep Abyss had long been killed. What Zhou Zhou was looking at was only the remnant will of the Deep Abyss bloodline on one of its arms. If not for that, how could Zhou Zhou, who had just stepped into the stage of will like light, withstand the attack of the Deep Abyss willpower? If it was the deep abyss main body, it would probably possess him completely with a look. After Zhou finished speaking, the deep abyss suddenly fell silent. After a long while, he calmly said, "You're right. If I hadn't been so anxious back then to replace the abyss will, I might have." Before it could finish speaking, it suddenly stopped. Zhou also sensed something and looked up at the sky. A pitch-black pupil had appeared in the sky. He was the source of all negative emotions, the end of evil, and also the source of filth. It occupied that place, as if it was the center of this world. "Abyss will," Zhou muttered. The abyss will glanced at Zhou, and Zhou felt a tremble that came from the depths of his soul, and even the depths of his will. It was as if the other party was in existence that he could never touch. Zhou realized that the difference between his own will and the other party's will was as great as the difference between an ordinary life form and a god spirit. Before Zhou could think further, the abyss will's gaze landed on the eye of deep abyss. It was just a glance. The eye of deep abyss was like crushed gravel. It disintegrated into countless dark purple light spots and dissipated in the air. Then the abyss will glanced at Zhou again. He did not know if it was an illusion, but Zhou seemed to see admiration in its eye. At the same time, he sent a message to himself before gradually dissipating. After Zhou learned of this information, his expression changed. At this moment, he suddenly felt a huge force coming from the pitch-black void in all directions. It surged into his body crazily and swallowed him in the blink of an eye. At the same time in the outside world, two Geralts were standing in front of Zhou. One of them was maintaining the secret formation of the abyssal dragons, while the other Geralt kept taking out buckets of the secret medicine of the abyssal dragons from his spatial treasures and pouring them into the bathtub where Zhou was. The two Geralts looked at the rapidly fading liquid of the dragon of abyss secret medicine in the bathtub. Their eyes were red, and they felt as if their hearts were bleeding. So many dragons of the abyss class changed secret medicines that had already cost he more than half of his wealth. If he didn't think that Zhou was suitable to inherit the demon hunter profession and could become a pillar of humanity in the future, he wouldn't have spent so much effort and resources to help Zhou. Even so, looking at Zhou, who was constantly absorbing the power of the secret medicine, he was already starting to regret it. At this rate, if he ran out of secret medicine, Zhou's job transition ceremony might not be completed. Then he would really suffer a double loss. "What the hell are you doing? What kind of demon bloodline can consume so many abyssal dragon secret potions?" Geralt roared in his heart, hoping to wake Zhou up. At this moment an illusory, pitch-black pupil gradually appeared above Zhou's body. The pitch-black light shone on Zhou's body, making him look like a sleeping demon god. "The abyss will," Geralt cried out. Chapter 857 Deep Abyss Bloodline Inheritance. Will Divine Transformation Realm. Geralt's body froze on the spot, not daring to move for fear of attracting the attention of this terrifying existence. At the same time, his mind was racing. What kind of situation could trigger the descent of the abyss will? Impossible. It was impossible for such a change to happen under any circumstances. They were demon hunters, members of the opposing faction of the abyss. How was it possible for the demon hunters' class change to attract the phenomenon of the abyss will? Wasn't this like a weasel paying New Year's greetings to a chicken? What was going on? Geralt was stunned. Fortunately, the abyss will did not pay attention to Geralt and disappeared after a while. Geralt only heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the abyss will disappear. He turned to look at Zhou and realized that Zhou had actually woken up. He was sitting in the clear secret change potion deep in thought. Whose demon bloodline do you have? Why did it attract the attention of the abyss will? Seeing that Zhou had woken up, Geralt could not help but ask the question in his heart. He was too curious. Zhou said nothing. His attention was completely focused on the text message notification in front of him. Congratulations, you have successfully changed your profession to a gradeless combat profession, Demon Hunter. You have activated the Demon Hunter bloodline, First Demon Bloodline, Master God Tier Advanced Grade. As your demon bloodline is Master God Tier Advanced grade, your Demon Hunter profession grade will automatically change to Divine Kingdom Combat Profession. Your combat class column has been activated. First Demon Demonization, Demon Hunting Evolution, Demon Hunting Bloodsword, Strengthen Sixth Senses, Summon Abyssal Gate, Create Abyssal Coordinates. You have awakened the Demon Hunter skills. Demon's Arrow, Demon Eye, Demon Hunter Armor, Super Spiritualism, Demon Biting Chaos Strike, Production Profession Change Elixir, Life Elixir, Blood Energy Elixir, Weapon Repair. As you have subdued the demonic will in the demon bloodline, you have obtained a portion of the demonic inheritance from your own demonic bloodline. This includes, but is not limited to, the cultivation experience of Will Divine Transformation Realm, a portion of the Lord's Law talent, the Lord's Law cultivation experience, a portion of the Abyssal Providence talent, Abyssal Summoning, Original Sin Flame, Abyssal World cultivation experience. Zhou could not help but click his tongue when he saw so many talents and skills. As expected of a demon hunter, who had awakened the bloodline of the Master God Tier Advanced grade Deep Abyss. He had so many tricks up his sleeve. He glanced at the abilities of these talents and skills, and then his gaze fell on a few talents and skills that he liked. Talent name, Original Demon. Talent level, Master God Tier Advanced grade. Talent description. The demon bloodline in your body comes from the first demon in the endless heavens. With this demon bloodline, you can face any demon without fear of their pressure. It could also release its own pressure to suppress the demon's bloodlines and reduce their strength by 10 to 50%. There was a high chance that the other party would be afraid and not dare to fight him. There was a small chance that the other party would give up fighting and escape or surrender. Talent name, Demon Hunting Evolution. Talent level, Master God Tier Advanced grade. Talent description. The demon bloodline in your body comes from the first demon in the endless heavens. You, who has this demon bloodline, are also a top-notch demon hunter. When you fight a demon and successfully kill the demon, you can extract the demon origin power from the other party's corpse and add it to your body. This will permanently increase a certain aspect of your ability. There is a small chance that you can absorb and master a brand new demon bloodline power from the demon origin power. These two abilities, the former made him the absolute nemesis of demons. At the same level, no matter what background the other party had, even if it was a direct descendant of a Master God Tier demon, Zhou could rely on the original demon to suppress it. The latter's demon hunting evolution was interesting, but also somewhat useless. This was because it was like a weakened version of the Chaos Human bloodline. However, the Chaos Human bloodline could absorb any bloodline and use it for its own use. As for the evolution of demon hunters, they could only absorb demon bloodlines for their own use. The difference between the two was self-evident. As for the other talents and skills, Zhou had also seen them. They were all very practical. However, none of them shocked him as much as the following notifications. The cultivation experience of the Will Divine Transformation Realm, part of the Lord's nomological talent. Lord's Law cultivation experience, a portion of the Abyssal Providence. The Will Divine Transformation Realm was the next evolution of the willpower like light. Now that he had will like light, even though his combat strength did not increase much, his life-saving ability had greatly increased. It could even be said thought as long as he did not destroy himself in the long river of time, or be killed by an existence who had grasped a higher level of will. In that case, there was almost no life form in this world that could kill him. Furthermore, will like light had two benefits. The first benefit was that he didn't have to worry about being possessed. This was because a will like light expert's soul and physical body were no longer his constraints. As long as his will was not destroyed, even if his soul and physical body were forcefully possessed by others, he could make his physical body and soul self-destruct with a single thought. Not only would the enemy not obtain anything, but they would also be in danger of dying. This was also the reason why the Eye of Deep Abyss didn't plan to possess Zhou when it saw him enter the will-like light realm. Of course, this was a method of killing 1,000 enemies and sacrificing 800. As for the second benefit, after achieving will like light, He would no longer be afraid of soul and mental attacks. Because from today onwards, willpower was his source. His soul and physical body were only the resting places of his will. Of course, this did not mean that his soul and body were not important. In terms of willpower alone, willpower did not have any direct combat methods. On the other hand, the soul and physical body could unleash many protective and offensive methods. Furthermore, if he wanted to become a higher-level god spirit, or even fight for the Lord of all races, his soul and body were things that could not be abandoned. If one day, in order to survive, he gave up his soul and body, and became a pure existence of will, even if he could live, he would only live like a wandering soul. He would have no potential or future to speak of. Therefore, even if he had stepped into the level of will like light, unless he was forced into a desperate situation in the future, he would not easily give up his soul and body. And will like light had so many benefits. There was no need to mention the will divine transformation realm. Zhou, who had obtained a portion of the deep abyss inheritance, already knew. Will like light was one of the thresholds for a true god tier to become a master god tier. As for the will divine transformation realm, it was the threshold of a master god tier stepping into the supreme god realm. Back then, Deep Abyss felt that he had already reached the will divine transformation realm. That was why he coveted the status of the Abyss will, and wanted to usurp the throne. Unfortunately, he didn't expect the Abyss will to be so powerful. His actions had just begun when he was discovered by the Abyss will. Then, he was easily stripped of his position as a lord by the Abyss will, and he was sentenced to eternal dismemberment. In the end, a portion of his bloodline inheritance benefited Zhou after countless years. And with the experience of the soul formation cultivation of consciousness, Zhou had a clear direction for his willpower. This was naturally very meaningful for his future growth. In addition, a portion of the Lord's nomological talent, Lord's nomological cultivation experience, and a portion of the abyssal providence in the deep abyss were naturally very important to Zhou, who was currently walking on the path of the Lord's nomological laws. This deep abyss, even though I wasted so many resurrections, but it's also given me some amazing benefits. Zhou could not help but smile. Even though the number of resurrections was precious, it was not difficult to obtain. He just had to destroy a few more enemy countries. Then he suddenly thought of his other two first demon bloodlines. Were they useful to him? Zhou suddenly realized this problem. Chapter 858 Gift. Geralt is about to break through. Zhou hesitated for a moment before finally giving up on this tempting idea. Those two first demon bloodlines might also contain the bloodline, Will of the Deep Abyss. This time, the sudden appearance of the Abyss will help him deal with the Deep Abyss, but it did not mean that the Abyss would appear again to deal with the Deep Abyss next time. In order to not necessarily increase his strength, Zhou did not want to take the risk of coming into contact with the Deep Abyss bloodline will. What if the Deep Abyss didn't want to possess him next time, and wanted to destroy him instead? With the other party's powerful strength that could shatter the extreme world-honored dragon with a single glance, it was useless for Zhou to revive 10,000 times. There were many ways to increase his strength, so there was no need to take the risk for one of them. Moreover, even if he could absorb the power of the first demon in the two bloodlines, he would probably not be able to improve much. They were all repetitive spoils of war created by the King of Loots after all. Most of his strength and abilities overlapped with his own. Zhou no longer felt conflicted. He would find an opportunity to sell those two duplicate first demon bloodlines in the future, or exchange them for other treasures of the same value. Whose demon bloodline do you have? The Chaos Demon Hound Kurtzhoff? Or the Nightmare Serpent Dandel? Could it be the Elven Devourer? If it's inconvenient for you to say, pretend I didn't ask. At this moment, Geralt's curious voice sounded. He still couldn't hold back his doubts, and asked this somewhat rude question again. Neither. It's the first demon Deep Abyss. Zhou came back to his senses, and said it without hiding anything. In his perception, Geralt was an extremely pure person, and under his cold and fierce face, he actually had a kind and compassionate heart. Geralt was an extremely pure person, and under his cold and fierce face, he actually had a kind and compassionate heart. Hence, he believed that his perception was right. Geralt was a trustworthy person, so he told him about this not-so-secret matter. First demon. Geralt frowned slightly, looking a little lost. I actually don't have any impression. He believed that his understanding of the abyssal god spirits exceeded that of most humans, and even other races. He had never heard of this name before. Zhou shrugged. Where could he have an impression? According to the memories passed down to him by the deep abyss. After the deep abyss was destroyed by the abyss will, the endless world of the abyss under his rule also experienced a huge upheaval, under the wrath of the abyss will. After that turbulence, countless abyss lords were reshuffled. The Chaos Demon Hound Kurtzhoff, Nightmare Giant Snake Dandel, and Elven Devourer, that Geralt mentioned were all abyssal powerhouses that rose after the turbulent era. Even ancient existences like them might not know about the existence of the deep abyss, let alone Geralt, this little guy. Maybe it's an abyssal powerhouse that I don't know about. Geralt did not dwell on this matter. He looked at Zhou, who was safe and sound. After knowing that he had successfully transitioned into the demon hunter profession, a smile appeared on his face. At least he didn't let this genius be destroyed in his hands. However, when he saw the dozen empty barrels beside him, the smile on his face immediately turned bitter. Zhou also noticed these empty barrels. He thought for a moment and guessed what had happened. It seems like His Holiness Geralt has suffered heavy losses for this job change of mine. Zhou smiled. It's not that bad. Geralt looked at him expressionlessly. I just used 16 more portions of the Dragon of Abyss secret medicine. Zhou was stunned. He actually used 16 more portions of the Abyssal Dragon secret medicine? This secret medicine of the Abyss Dragon could allow living beings with the bloodline of a Master God tier demon to change their occupation to demon hunters. Strictly speaking, there must be Master God tier materials inside. It could be considered a Master God tier medicine. There were a total of 16 Master God tier potions. Even though he did not know how Geralt, a high tier deity level, obtained them, it was indeed a huge loss. Zhou walked out of the bathtub. At the same time, the Emperor Dragon robe automatically appeared on his body, covering his flawless and handsome figure. He walked in front of Geralt and flipped his right hand. A spatial ring appeared in his hand. I really didn't expect His Holiness Geralt to lose so many potions. Take what's inside as a small compensation. Apart from that, in the future, if Your Holiness Geralt encounters any difficulties, you need to seek help from me. As long as it's within my capabilities, I will definitely do my best to help. Zhou said seriously. With his current combat strength, he could barely be considered half a true god expert. After he became a god spirit, he would have the usual true god tier combat power. Coupled with the various abilities of his territory, and the connections he currently had, Zhou thought that this favor of his still had a certain value. There's no need for compensation. I promised you that I would let you successfully change your profession to the demon hunter profession. Even though the consumption of potions during this process exceeded my expectations, this is something I should bear. Geralt was about to decline Zhou's compensation. Why don't you take a look first, Your Holiness? At this moment, Zhou suddenly spoke. Looking at the faint smile on Zhou's face, he hesitated for a moment before taking the spatial ring and entering it with his consciousness. Then, his body clearly trembled. This was because he saw an entire set of high-tier deity-level advanced grade divine artifacts and a true god-tier advanced divine artifacts. It was the true god-tier advanced grade divine artifact, Crown of Original Sin. Zhou had 3 Crown of Original Sins, so he took one out and gifted it to Geralt. There was nothing he couldn't bear to part with. After all, the benefits he had obtained from the other party far surpassed this true god-tier divine artifacts. How do you know true god-tier divine artifacts? Geralt looked at Zhou with his mouth agape. These were true god-tier divine artifacts, and they were top-notch true god-tier divine artifacts. Even those super existences in the abyss might not necessarily have such a divine artifact. He actually made the king of the intermediate kingdom, who was not even at the God spirit realm, take it out? Geralt suddenly understood something. Why could the other party suppress the lords of the myriad races and have his current achievements? Why could the other party suppress the lords of the myriad races and have his current achievements? Not to mention the lords of the 10,000 races. Even the civilization behind the lords of the myriad races probably did not have such a foundation. It's not convenient for me to reveal the origins of the true God-tier divine artifacts for the time being. Please keep it a secret for me, Your Holiness. But then again, this crown of original sin should be very useful to His Holiness, Jojo said. Geralt did not speak. He looked at the crown of original sin in the spatial ring hesitantly. After hesitating for a long time, he finally looked at Jojo. After realizing that the other party really did not have the intention to joke, he gritted his teeth and stomped his feet. He finally recognized his consciousness as his master. After it completely recognized him as its master, Geralt naturally knew the effects of all the divine artifacts of this crown of original sin. It's more than useful. These true God-tier divine artifacts are simply treasures tailor-made for demons and demon hunters. Geralt looked deeply at Jojo. Chapter 859 Battle begins. Even though Geralt was only a high-tier deity level and was temporarily unable to activate the full power of the Crown of Original Sin, an advanced-grade true God-tier divine artifact, but while he was just approaching the Crown of Original Sin, he could feel the demon bloodline in his body surging with excitement and roaring wildly. He could sense it. Now, with the enhancement of the Crown of Original Sin, his comprehension of some of the original sin laws was at least 10 times stronger. Originally, the nomological path that he walked was the path of the original sin. With the enhancement of this true God-tier divine artifacts, he was even more exaggerated than adding wings to a tiger. He was even confident that it wouldn't take long for he to comprehend the laws at the true God-tier level and officially enter the true God-tier level. He thought for a moment and told him about his confidence in breaking through to the true God-tier realm in a short period of time. Jojo's eyes widened. Geralt could break through to the true God-tier realm. Could it be that the human race was about to welcome a 6th true God-tier? How long will it take for His Holiness to become a true God-tier? Jojo immediately asked. I'm still lacking some law comprehension in the aspect of the rage laws. I've already reached the limit of the other original sin laws. With this crown of original sin, I can complete the nomological comprehension that I lack in 100 years. Geralt said with certainty. I heard that during the process of transforming into a true God-tier, the Supreme will send down the power of laws to temper itself. Once it can't survive this process, there's a risk of death. Has His Holiness made preparations in this regard? Jojo asked. I made some preparations, Geralt said. However, Jojo could see a hint of insincerity on the other party's face. Jojo had a guess. From the looks of it, even if His Holiness had made some preparations, these preparations were probably not enough for he to have sufficient confidence that he could safely survive the process of tempering his divine body with the power of laws. Jojo thought for a moment and took out 3 items from his king's treasure box. The first item was an illusory white transparent fruit. The second item was a black tree root. The third item was an emerald green potion. Geralt stared at the 3 items that Jojo had taken out with his mouth agape. Even though he couldn't tell what the 3 items were, the true God-tier aura on them clearly told them that they were all true God-tier items. This is the hazy sacred fruit. It comes from the hazy domain in the abyss where the nightmare snake is located. Its effect is to turn one's divine body into nothingness. It has a miraculous effect when resisting the invasion of the nomological power of a true God-tier. This is the root of Nisberg, a part of a true God-tier world tree root in the abyss. It's one of the main materials for creating true God-tier divine artifacts. It's also very effective in channeling and absorbing the power of laws. This potion is called the Grace of the Goddess of Life. It's an elementary grade true God-tier potion. It can instantly heal any injuries below the true God-tier. It's also extremely effective for injuries above the true God-tier. It just requires a certain amount of healing time. Your Excellency, with these 3 items, it should be able to increase the success rate of tempering the divine body through the power of law, right? Oh yes. In my territory, there's a special building that can allow the consciousness of a life form to enter the illusory past. Furthermore, the ratio of time flow in the past to the real world has reached 1,000 to 1. Sir, why don't you bring the crown of original sin in and comprehend the original sin laws? This should reduce the time by at least 1,000 times. After Zhou finished speaking, he looked up at Geralt and asked, Geralt. He looked at Zhou's generous move. There was only one question left in his mind. Was this king of the blazing sun really not a divine kingdom king in disguise? Geralt left. He took the true god-tier divine artifacts and treasures that Zhou had given him and headed for the reincarnation sacred palace. He was prepared to enter it to comprehend the original sin laws until he became a true god-tier. I hope that another true god-tier will appear in the human race. It'll give me more time to develop. Zhou thought to himself. Even though he was already very strong, for the time being, he didn't want to face the civilization behind the lords of all races. The longer he developed, the more beneficial it was for him. Zhou opened his profession interface and realized that he already had 4 combat professions. Martial artist, the Lord of the End, Chi practitioner, demon hunter. Currently I can take on 7 combat professions. There are still 3 professions left. Zhou shook his head and did not mind. Top-notch professions could be obtained but not sought after. He just had to take it slow. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, the first half of the night passed. They waited until past 3 in the morning. The power of the fog monsters, it's coming. About 1 billion kilometers away from the blazing sun kingdom. Legendary tier scarlet territory. In the sky above the demon flame sacred mountain. More than 4 billion blazing sun kingdom troops were waiting in 10 galaxy spaceships that had entered the interlayer of space. In addition, the 76 god spirits and the 12 local god spirits belonging to the blazing sun kingdom were waiting alone on the galaxy. All the living beings and immortals looked at the scene in the distance. The army of fog monsters that was like a scarlet tide surged over from afar. The ground trembled. All living beings were silent. The immortals looked over. The longitudinal battlefront alone was more than 10 million kilometers away. The horizontal battlefront was also more than 1 million kilometers away. Densely packed fog monsters that emitted a terrifying might filled the area. Wherever it passed, there were no living beings, and not even a blade of grass grew. Even the astronomical phenomenon followed in their footsteps and turned into a scarlet astronomical phenomenon. Any life form would be shocked by this scene and subconsciously hold their breaths. Even the immortals behind Zhou fell silent for a moment when they saw this. It's been a long time since I've seen such a scene. When Sun Wukong saw this scene, his eyes shone with golden light. He stroked the Jingu staff in his hand and muttered, Yang Jian, Neza, the Gale Archmage, the god of war, the god of Silver Star Knights, the immortal hermit of the South Pole, the god of puppets, the high priest soul summoner, the great emperor of the East Mountain, the goddess of the Holy Land. The immortals and gods stood up one after another and looked at these fog monsters, especially the scarlet god spirits among them. Their eyes were filled with fighting spirit, and none of them wanted to retreat. Let's fight! King of the blazing sun. Neza, who had already used 3 heads and 6 arms, looked at Zhou with shining eyes. Wunya, leave the interlayer of space and open all the doors of the galaxy. Zhou said in a low voice. Yes, your majesty. Wunya's voice resounded throughout the galaxy. Then a total of 18 galaxies appeared from space and floated above Demon Flame Sacred Mountain. Then there was a buzzing sound. Then, the immortals saw all the hatches open at the same time. All soldiers immortals, listen to my orders. Leave the galaxy. Fight all the invading Scarlet Legion. Zhou ordered. Yes. The immortals and soldiers roared. Then they rushed out of the spaceship. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.